Welcome back to another edition of the FloTrack podcast, Olympics edition. Gordon is not with me. In his place, former FloTrack employee, current tennis pro in Taylor, Texas, Lincoln Shrike. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I've heard Gordon's actually lost so much money that he's in therapy right now off his Olympic bets. So I'm happy to sub in with that being the case.
So we are watching the women's marathon tonight live and reacting in real time. We're also going to be touching on some stories that have happened throughout the past couple of days. We'll recap a little bit. We don't want to recap too much because there's still some finals to come tomorrow in the United States or later on today if you're watching in Tokyo. And we will, of course, preview those races tomorrow. We got men's and women's 4x4, and we have the women's 10,000, the men's 1,500. If you want to sync like your feed to ours, so that way there's no spoilers, the gun just went off on mine, and I'll do a couple of those
No.
throughout the race. So they've just started running on my feed. If you're watching live on YouTube, feel free to comment. FloTrack Podcast YouTube channel. You can check it out there. First hiccup of the day, Lincoln trying to figure out how to get his feed to
Yeah.
work. So we are off and rolling here.
Well, the the setting or the moving it up earlier an hour is thrown off my streaming service. Shout out to Fubo TV. Maybe it's Fubo. I don't want it not to be confused with the clothing brand. So that's what I've been using to watch most of the Olympics, along with a little Peacock action. It just gets hard streaming all these things. I got to get up at like 5 a.m. and figure out which service it's on. It's a little tricky, Kevin. So yeah, I will be trying to get my stream up. Hopefully, it doesn't just cut in at 5 o'clock. But I'll keep you updated.
I'll paint a picture for you until you have it going. They're absolutely
Good.
jogging 1 minute into the race, and by
Oh,
jogging, I would
it
love
did.
to see I'd love to see a GPS on them right now because it looks as if they're running about 9 minutes a mile.
Oh, well, that's helpful for me as I try to get my streaming service sorted out because I wouldn't want any. I don't necessarily. Although it would be fun to see. I don't know if I want Koskai setting a world record while I can't watch. So
Yes,
it's good to know that I have plenty of time to catch up and probably will not miss a world record. But I feel like I'm getting closer here, Kevin, to getting this figured out. So we're trying to make it work.
Yeah, I think you'll get it sorted out, and I don't think you're going to miss anything in the early part of this race. It is slow as expected. If you're watching live or listening live in the chat, let us know where you're watching from, because this is a great time window if you're in the United States. Not so much if you are in Europe, and I guess
Right.
real early if you're in Asia. It's just interesting how all these things have shifted. Day is night, night is day. It's been a long series of 10 days here.
Yeah,
People are asking
I've
how the
actually.
weather is. It's hot there. It's hot.
Yeah, see, I was looking. It's not. It's humid, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to like get up into the 90s or anything though. Like this isn't like how. I guess we should be comparing this to the men's race in Beijing in 2008. Like, is it that hot?
So I'm
I guess
looking.
it might be.
Remember,
But
they moved it. They moved it to Sapporo. Remember, to make it cooler. That
yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole thought process there. Currently, it says it's 78 degrees with 83% humidity right now.
Okay, 83%. That's some Taylor, Texas like atmosphere. It's maybe even a little more humid. That's pretty brutal. That's going to be tough. But they ran at what time did they start the marathon in Doha when we were there? Like midnight exactly,
Midnight,
and it was
midnight
still
marathon, baby. We were there.
yeah, it was still 85 degrees. So if you're someone like Ruth Chepnagich coming off that, I know it's been almost 2 years, but it's got to help you. You're used to the heat marathon.
Mm-hmm, for sure. We got someone tuning in. He says it's midnight in Kenya. Says we will sleep after medals. Good luck, our champs. I bet. I'm guessing if there's anybody who's watching in Italy they basically haven't slept the entire track competition. It's been one party after another in Italy because this is the
Mm,
championships of the Italian team. They got 5 gold medals. Right now, they have the same amount of gold medals as the U.S. They are the 4x1
dear Lord.
men's champion. They have the individual 100-meter champion. They got Tamberi a gold medal in the high jump. It has been all about Italy.
I don't want to come on here and be Gordon and like, just dump
Yeah,
hot
don't.
takes,
That's why you're
but
here. That's why you're here.
I I will admit, not a fan if I had to give my opinion on the sharing of the gold medals by Tambiri and Barshim. Not a fan of that. I understand they did a jump off and they were still tied, but or whatever they did, but
Count back. Count back.
I yeah, count. Yeah, there you go. Sorry. I would
Yeah.
like I get it. I get the incentive. They're both like found out that they could do it. So why not? But somebody needs to get gold. Somebody needs to get silver. I will take that silver medal that they didn't allocate for the men's high jump. I'll go ahead and grab that. I just wasn't a fan of it. I understand they're buddies, but
They took the silver and just spray painted it to gold. So there's no
oh,
extra
I
metal
see.
there.
I see Kevin Hart. I see we okay. So I'm not first to this take. I see that Kevin Hart and I have the same idea. Yeah,
Even I mean, it's a bad take, and even Gordon didn't have it. So I'm impressed that in the first 6 minutes of recording, you've already gone
yeah,
beyond my wildest dreams. Like, what do they? If neither of them wants to go, what do you do? If they're both saying we're done, what do you do? Because
yeah.
this isn't, and it's not. It's not the long jump where you say go out and jump again. It's a long, drawn out process. There could be a tie in the 100. Are you going to run another 100?
Yeah.
You're going to run another. You're going to run another 5K. Like it makes sense. There's been ties. I mean, Rommel and DeGrasse famously tied for a bronze. Jamaican women tied for a bronze, for silver. Also,
That's a
it,
bronze. It's
it's still
a gold needs
tying
to
for
be
a but it could have happened for gold, is what I'm saying. It could have
yeah.
happened in the 100. And then
My
are you going to rerun the race? That doesn't make any sense.
oh, I guess it could have happened. I mean, I would feel like they would separate those. My question, does this lead to some sort of diplomacy between Qatar and Italy? I mean, it seems like they have a lot of potential as allies.
Well,
That's a joke.
I think
That was a
too.
joke.
I think Lincoln's still working into his routine
Sorry.
here early on.
Yeah.
I think too, if this is the reaction to every tie, I'm advocating for more ties in track, not less. That was amazing. Just like that
Yeah.
instantaneous burst of joy from both guys. It was awesome.
Yeah.
We got more people checking in here on the chat. Someone watching from Sri Lanka. We got our guy Andre in Doha. Remember Andre a couple years ago? Lincoln
Oh, yeah.
showing us around Doha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Took me on a run. It's on Saturday morning when that was probably the hottest run I've ever been in my life. Got someone in New Jersey. Big champs for New Jersey. A thing Mo and City
Oh man.
McLaughlin. Yeah, Canada checking in.
Yep.
Canada's been doing well. Canada, Damian Warner, DeGrasse, Mohamed. I'm sure I'm missing some other people here, or some other
No, you're
medalists. Was that everybody?
Andrew Wiggins
The
still in the NBA.
Did you see?
That's
Speaking of
all.
which, I know we're gonna be all over the place here for this first part until we make sure we get this feed going. But did you see the picture of DeGrasse and Wiggins playing basketball in high school?
I did. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
looked like DeGrasse took Wiggins to the cup there. He had some potential, which is I know he always talks about just distance runners, but Justin Knight's always talking about. He makes sure to clarify that he means he could always beat a distance runner. He could be
In
any
basketball.
distance runner in basketball, but he knows probably that on DeGrasse. I imagine he's got a little quickness on him. Wait, what
Nice.
is this Twitter
Wait,
page? I know it's not up on your screen, but this one that we've got in the background here, Italy in Qatar. Is
yeah, I
that
think
it's
this is
a
the Italian embassy in Qatar. Can we
oh
yeah, let's
wow.
blow that up
Wow.
there.
This moment was made for them. I mean, my goodness. An absolute like dream scenario for them. Some good PR for any Italians in Qatar that want to go work at the embassy.
You mentioned it
There you
opening the
go.
door for more diplomacy. I don't know the current state of affairs between the two countries, but you literally
Yeah.
have the Italian embassy in Qatar. It's like all they're tweeting.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
Spider-Man
again,
memes
it's like
too?
it's a dream scenario,
Hold on. What's going
right?
on
They've
with
got
the
the Spider-Man meme. Not very good meme, but okay.
who's in charge of this account? It's
Oh,
just like, you know what? Screw it. We're only doing Tambiri and Barshim content today. Like
that's
you take the
good.
social media manager job, like at the Italian
Yeah.
embassy in Qatar, thinking it's just going to be press releases and stuff, and then this viral moment happens between these two countries, and then you think to yourself, okay, it's my time. I'm never going to get
Yeah,
a better opportunity than right now to do
I
this.
exactly. Exactly. Uh yeah, I did not. I mean, I guess every country probably has, or every, I don't know, every Western nation maybe has an embassy in every country, but except for the spotty ones. But I didn't know there was an Italian embassy in Qatar, but now I know that. I'm glad I brought up that joke. Now I'm learning. I'm just trying to get this dang stream up, Kevin, and I know the
Yeah.
joke with me is I'm always a little ill prepared. I just didn't think that this would be an issue here. I think the problem is the USA Network, which I'm going to be watching it off of from Fubo TV. They probably had some programming going on. They were probably watching reruns of I don't know, what's the show Meghan Markle used to be on that was on USA all the time.
Suits.
USA Network. Suits. Probably running a rerun of Suits instead of this women's marathon. So hopefully nothing happens in the first hour. I got to ask, what streaming service are you watching this on?
I'm watching it through the main NBC thing. So I got Maeda at the front, where I'm at 10:45 on the clock right now. For those of you who joined late and want to sync, it looks like they're going pretty slow. Travis was going to try to pull in splits, but again, I don't know how relevant they are right now. They're moving real slow right
Yeah, I
now.
don't know if people
Thanks
are
to everybody
tuning
who's
in,
watching
Kevin, to
live.
hear us read off splits, but
No, I was going to read off splits. I just wanted to give some context to people who aren't able to get the feed up like you. Some cool
like
aerial
me,
shots
yeah.
here as well too. Yeah, so I'll if you're cheering for Gordon's picks, which I don't know why you would be at this point. He's got Perez Jepchirchir in this one of
Ooh,
the three Kenyans in there, along with
that's tough.
Kosgei and Ruth Chepnegich. Lincoln mentioned Chepnegich was big in Doha in extremely hot conditions back in 2019. She's also run 64:02 in the half, so she's a good pick. Ethiopia, Dereje, Berhane Debaba, and Taijas Germa, 218s there for Dereje and Debaba, and Germa's run under 220. And then the U.S. team with Kipyego, Tuliamuk, and Seidel. I have a feeling just how championship marathons go that Gordon's vaunted rankings and our predictions are going to get upended a bit
Oh
here.
yeah.
It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if some deep sleepers end up being in the mix for the medals. Now they're taking it out very cautiously, which is smart.
Hmm.
But if I'm remembering Doha right, they took it out cautiously there too, and just most people still wilted because it was
Yeah.
indescribably hot and humid during that time.
This to me has the feeling of a race where someone like a complete upstart could win. Someone basically that we haven't heard of. Now there's big names, but
Mhm.
it's to me it's a little top heavy. Kenya is well represented, and I know there are some quality Ethiopians, and Salpeter is up there, but just championship
Mhm.
marathons. I don't know what it is necessarily. Maybe it's the fact that there's no big appearance money, or no big and not appearance money, but
No appearance money.
maybe the money for winning isn't as
Prize money.
good.
Prize money. Yeah.
Prize
Mhm.
money. There we go. People drop out like flies, and you'll have random people show up. And of course, we're coming off of a 2016 Olympic marathon that was of questionable integrity, to say the least. So surprising things will happen. I feel like it would be easy to just say, oh, the Kenyans, Kosgei will win, maybe Chepnegich will come in, and then we'll have Dereje of Ethiopia. But I don't know. That just doesn't happen
Mhm.
usually. It just, all marathons are surprising. It seems like the championship ones, particularly so.
Yeah, and listen, these Olympics for track have been nothing but surprises. I can only think of two races off the top of my head where I would have been able to predict in correct order one, two, three. Women's actually three.
You don't think
Women's 4 meter
yeah, the
women's 4 meter
yeah, go
hurdles,
ahead.
men's 4 meter hurdles, men's shot put. Those are the only three races where I would have been able to get 1 through 3 correct. And oftentimes I would have only gotten 1 out of 3 in general, but I can't think of
Yeah.
another event. I mean, it's pretty crazy how unpredictable these championships have been.
So in the high jump, you didn't have Tambiri and Barshim going 1-1, and you didn't have that on your board. A lot of people did.
I did,
Let's see.
well,
I'm
I
trying to.
DM'd the Italian embassy in Qatar and I said, "Hey, how's Tambiri feeling?" And they're like, "I don't know, but I can give you some intel on Barshim since I'm in here in Doha." Are you still
Yeah.
working on that? Because if you're working on that, I can just talk. If you're not,
Oh yeah, no, I've got nothing
I can
here,
throw
and
some
I'm
questions your
sorry.
way.
Again, it's not like I just like went on. I was prepared. I've been watching these Olympics. I just didn't know that the fact that they rescheduled it so late was going to throw things back on the USA Network. I'm just fully, if you don't mind, I'll probably be
Yeah,
writing them
no
some
worries. No,
very harsh emails pretty soon. That they
no
didn't
worries.
have to, they didn't move their scheduling around, their programming, I should say, for this women's marathon. I just wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. Well, uh, Maeda of Japan continues to lead, and there are some spectators out there. If there were more, it would be really loud, I would guess, cheering for the Japanese runner out there. And then behind her, you have the three Kenyans, three Ethiopians, saltpeters in there. So I'm not listening to the audio. So if people have splits, throw them in the chat because I'm probably not going to hear them on here. I want to go through
Yeah.
though while you're refreshing and stuff. I have the list of medalists so far, and I
Oh,
want you
good.
to give me on a scale of 1 to 10 the surprise factor for you. So, for example, women's 4 meter hurdles surprise factor. I'm talking about placing, not times here. Would be a
Yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah. Got it.
That would be
Okay.
that would be a one. Um, just to set a scale here. So, let's go through these. First one, men's 100. Marcel Jacobs, Fred Curley, Andre DeGrasse.
Okay, so I'm sorry. You're gonna. I said yes that I was listening, but okay. So one is least surprised to what? 10 most surprised. I'm sorry. I missed that. I thought it would
Yes.
make sense while I was
Yes.
listening. Okay. That was a 10 because I had never heard of Marcel Jacobs before, literally before the 100 final. And truth be told, I slept through the men's 100 final. I just forgot to wake up for it. And I found that Marcel Jacobs had won, and I did not know who Marcel Jacobs was. So, yeah, that was a surprise. That was a 10 for me, a full surprise. And Fred Curley, I mean, props to him. I thought uh, of I thought of everyone on the U.S. team. I thought he would do the worst as far as Baker and obviously Brumell. So for him
Mhm.
to be the top American to get silver was also a huge surprise. Not a surprise for DeGrasse getting bronze because prior to his gold medal, he was always a bronze medal, silver medal type of a guy. But that wasn't a surprise. But yeah, Jacobs and Curley were surprises for huge ones for me.
200, DeGrasse, Bednarik, Lyles.
To be honest, a four maybe. The fact that Lyles has looked human for most of the season, and what we based on what we saw in the semis with Bednarik and obviously with DeGrasse running the 19.7s, the time I thought winning time would honestly be faster. In the 19.5s. So no, that wasn't a surprise. It would have been a surprise coming into the year, right? But not
Mhm.
based on all the things we'd
Yeah.
seen in the season.
Well, I guess, yeah, you have to figure out when you're talking about surprise level. Is it pre 2021? Is it before the US trials? Is it after the US trials? Is it after the first round? Because that's where, Jacobs is like, I had heard of him this year, but in 2020, 2019, He was just like a converted long jumper. It wasn't on my radar as an Olympic
Right.
medalist. And then even when the reason why I agree with you that it's a 10 is because even after the semis going into the final, like he didn't win his semi. So to have that
Yeah.
order, like you still thought, DeGrasse, Baker, Sambine even who had more experience. That thing was surprising no matter when you're putting the cutoff on. Okay, we got some splits there. Oh, then they went away.
Right.
Yeah, Jacobs's IG handle is crazy long jumper. So I don't even think he
He's
knew
got a
what was going to happen.
I think he's got no. I don't think he had any idea. And then they went and won the 4x1. So my
Yeah.
goodness, Italy. And they won the world, not the World Cup. Sorry, Euros. I mean, they're doing pretty good. Kevin, I may have a beat on this women's marathon here. I've gone to the NBC Olympics website and I've got the circle. We're loading
All
here,
right.
so possibly.
Yeah. I'll answer for you on these ones. 400 I'd say about a 5. Gardner winning, not surprised. Zambrano, based on what he
Yeah.
did in 2019, shouldn't have been surprising. Karani James is the big surprise. I know he got back into the swing of things in 2019 and made the final, but that was an impressive run for him. And then you take into account that no Americans medaled in that event, so that one to me would be a 5 or a 6 there. But Gardner winning, obviously not shocking based on what he's done. Men's 800
Yeah.
career Rotich Dobek. Again, this is just depends on when you ask me to make the pick. But if you said before the
Yeah.
Olympics, that'd be the top 3. I would not have been stunned. But if you would have told me that in February, I'd have been like, wait, did you forget Donovan Brazier? Are you not allowed to say his name?
Right.
Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, that one preseason, yes, would have been a 10.
Mhm.
There was legitimately no favorite coming into the race. It was almost well, somebody's got to win type of an event. I
Mhm.
mean, no taking away too much from career because the dude has run fast and probably not
Yeah.
in top end speed of any 800-meter runner, maybe Brazier. But I mean, as far as he's got the best 400-meter speed of any 800-meter runner, certainly in the world because he's world class in that event as well. But despite the fact the guy's run 142 and all that, he's just been super inconsistent and had never previously done much in championships. So you add in the fact that one was a 145 race. That race honestly just makes me angry. Not because I care who won or lost, but it was so dumb. Like I props to career, and he has flipped the script of his entire career because of
Mhm.
that victory. But my goodness, that was somebody had to win that event of the Olympics for sure.
Yeah,
So
but
I would say
is it 142?
surprise was an 8, I guess. Surprise was an 8.
Yeah, it just depends when you do it, when you make the
Yeah.
distinction here. So
Yeah.
you got your stream going. Molly Seidel's up in the front.
I see that. Yeah. So I've
Where are you at?
it, the fun
What's
the
your
fun
clock
keeps
at?
happening. So I got on. I got it up. However, I guess through this thing that I'm on, which I don't know, I think it's NBCOlympics.com. I'm currently on a 30-minute trial for Sling.tv. So when this transitions, it'll be about 4:50, and then
Uh-huh.
I'll lose this for 10 minutes, but then I'll get it back on hopefully on
Perfect.
fubo.com
Perfect.
because,
Perfect.
so I only
Perfect.
have, I have this a little bit. I'll just have one more black spot or one more, no stream spot, but I should be set up for all the action coming up later on. But I've got it right now,
Oh,
Kevin. I've got it. They're showing a Bridget Koskai graphic. I see all the vapor flies or whatever flies we're on right now are pink and white,
yeah,
ready to
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. Through 5K, the 1802. Everybody's still there. I'm looking at an aerial shot right now where there's what
Yeah,
30, 25 or 30 maybe.
that's pretty incredible, Kevin. Technology. We're talking to each other through a computer while watching a marathon on different computers. It's pretty incredible. That's sarcasm. I'm sorry. People on watching online probably aren't going to get that sarcasm. Yeah,
Okay,
they
so I'm gonna
are
keep
they're going
going.
pretty slow.
I want to keep going
Yeah,
with these. I want to keep going with these because we started this. And now I need to finish it. Men's 5, Cheptegei, Ahmed, Chalimo.
2. That's not that surprising.
10K, Barega, Cheptegei, Kiplimo. 1, maybe?
7.
And
Oh, well,
surprise? Barega?
Borrega winning the Borrega winning the gold. It was a surprise.
Well, okay. Well, he's won medals before. I mean,
Not gold. I mean,
maybe not a 1.
he beat Cheptegei. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Cheptegei
don't
got
know.
beat
I
this
just
trip. I
thought
don't know.
Cheptegei. Go ahead.
I look at the 5 and 10 similarly in that you had a lot of people who you thought could medal ended up medaling. So I'd probably put both of them in a
Okay.
3. High
Fair enough.
hurdles, Hansel Parchment, Grant Holloway, Ronald Lee.
I had heard of Hansel Parchment before this event, and he's been good for a long time. I don't think we've ever given him credit for having an outstanding name. That's just a great name,
Mm-hmm.
Hansel Parchment. It's also a brand of parchment paper. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that was a 10. That was a 10
10.
because of
It's
the
up there with
order.
100. Okay.
Yeah, because Holloway, I just don't know what happened, but he was pretty close to untouchable. I mean, the guy's run 1281 in a semi, and when he ran 1302 in the first round here, I thought, okay, here we go. This is going to be a cakewalk. Nothing is a cakewalk. I'm not saying uh, that he like was a failure, but something went wrong over the last couple hurdles with
Yeah.
Holloway, whether he jumped too high or whatnot. It
He said he lost
he
focus.
13.
This is a quote
Yeah.
I
Oh,
saw.
okay.
Basically,
Yeah.
he could sense it and he lost focus over those last 2. I was talking to Gordon about it, and I said it reminded me. Remember late in his NCAA career, you were covering him back then, right? He lost at SECs to Daniel Roberts, correct? And
Yeah.
then I guess East prelims they didn't race against each other, but there was enough doubt going into NCAA's that we were considering them close to equal. That's what
Co-favorites.
this
Yeah.
race
Yeah.
reminded me of. That SEC loss when he lost uh,
Sure.
to Roberts, where he just didn't quite have that pop over the second half.
It's it's a hard position to be in, right? Because um, this is basically his. I mean, obviously, he could have fallen or not made the final by some measure,
Mm-hmm.
by some, technical thing, falling in the semis or something. But this is kind of the floor for him. It's rough when, almost the worst you can do is not win gold. It's a tough position to be in. It's kind of, uh, it's different, but it's kind of similar to Rye Benjamin. Not that obviously Benjamin did fantastic and ran 46
Yeah.
17. That wasn't like his floor, but the fact that everyone expects Rye Benjamin now to get silver, and so it's kind of like, oh, Rye got another silver. Here it's different. Obviously, everyone expected him to get gold, but it's oh, you didn't win gold. It's a disappointment then, and credit to him. He took credit for it, and or he didn't make a seem to legitimately still be pleased with the fact that he medaled. I'm sure Grant Holloway's disappointed,
Yeah.
but the fact is he did medal at the Olympics. It's still a big deal. It's just not what we quite expected.
He said it sucked multiple times. There was a Washington Post recap of it where they
Okay.
made reference to the fact that he liberally used the word "suck" in the post, and I could just picture it because you don't see any of those interviews in the
Yeah.
mix zone because they're not allowed to post them. But it just took me back to a couple of years ago when we were covering meets, and Grant was he would just tell you what he thought of his race. He would not hold back either for better or for worse. Usually, he was a very harsh critic. I do think though, because a lot of the attention is on the U.S. sprint events, and hurdle events,
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 4, high hurdles, low hurdles, and why they didn't get any gold medals. And I think Grant's loss is the one that you could see getting reversed the easiest of those 5, I think.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I think Benjamin ran the best of that group, but there's still
Oh,
Warholm.
yeah.
Grant, because he gave an explanation and he was so good up until that point, you have a clear understanding of, yep, I can see that. It's the hurdles. you lose it for a second, and then bam, then all of a sudden you're out of it. The rest of that group, and a lot of them are, those 2016 guys and some of the guys before that era, some of them a little after, if you're talking like Kenny Bednarik and crew. Um, I feel the best about Holloway moving forward, which I didn't
Hmm.
know I was going to say heading into the world records.
Well, you feel the best about Holloway's chances to get back on
of
top. Is
of
that what
that
you're
group
saying?
of that group to
Yeah.
win gold. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. I would
I mean,
agree.
part of it was like you understand what happened, and the guy ran 1281 in in Eugene, and then ran another 12.9, and then ran 12.98 obviously as a senior. So he's been under 13 multiple times. The rest of the group, it's harder to figure out for a variety of reasons, like where they're going. Like Bromel's older. Coleman, we don't know how he's going to do coming back after the suspension. Lyles, you're not
Yeah.
sure on. Norman, obviously, a ton of questions there. It's hard to figure out like that, and I say that group because that was the group heading into post Doha. That was the group that
Oh yeah.
had a lot of attention, and then you added Bromell later because of how he ran in 2020. Oh man, just seeing this tweet here. Carson Warholm toured Norwegian TV. He'll do the 400 flat at the Lausanne Diamond League.
You
Yes,
just yeah.
please. Can I sign up for that?
Yeah. I saw that. I guess a couple days. Yeah. Okay. That tweet's from August 4th. I was gonna say I think I saw that. So I guess I'm doing a better job of following track and field than you are, Kevin. It's pretty sad, but no, that'll be pretty stinking exciting when he does that. I would love to see. I assume what's the rest of the schedule? I mean, surely we're going to get Benjamin Warholm again, right? Is there a Diamond League final? There's got to be one coming up, right?
There is a Diamond League final this year. I would hope, but I don't know. There's no guarantees
Yeah,
with any of this because some people I think are going to call it a season after this,
yeah,
and some people are gonna
yeah.
try to build off what they did, and some people were probably a little banged up, and then they're not going to.
Mhm.
So men's 4 meter hurdles, I'd put it a 1. Men's steeple, El Bakali, Gurma, Keegan. That race was just impossible to figure out all year.
Yeah, I
So
cared so
I
little.
don't
I'll
think
be
that was
honest, I cared very little about that race.
yeah.
It
Um,
just it's lost interest to me.
yeah. If
Just being
Evan
honest.
Jager's not in it, I'm not watching. It was a
Kind of.
wonky year for the steeple. Then we have, let's see, the hurdles. Obviously, I think 4x1 would have been a 10. 4x4 we haven't seen yet. Let's do the preview for the 4x4 in a little bit. On the women's running events, I just want to stick to the running events here to get through it. 100, Thompson Hurrah, Fraser Price, Sharika Jackson. I'd probably go 4, 5 in terms of surprise. I thought
Wait,
Fraser Price was maybe a little lower. Maybe a little lower.
you thought Fraser Price was the overwhelming favorite?
Overwhelming's a little strong,
Yeah.
but I thought she was the favorite. I guess if you
Okay.
put in the how they won, I was surprised that Thompson Hurrah made it a blowout. So that's what bumps it up in terms of the surprise. But
For sure. For
we
sure.
talked before about how the Jamaican sweep was possible.
Yeah, so I don't looking back, it's not a big surprise, which obviously hindsight's 2020, but if you take it from where uh Shelly and Fraser Price was in 2019 versus where Thompson Hurrah was, where I think Thompson Hurrah missed the medals, and Shelly and Fraser Price just was crushing everyone. Just shows you how much can change, and obviously with the virus not having a championship year last year, it so much can flip. We had the emergence of Richardson, and then Hurrah and Thompson Hurrah was able to really take it to that level that we saw, take it to an even higher level than we saw in Rio. So she does have the advantage of being quite a bit younger than Shelly and Fraser Price, so it's no surprise in that sense. Eventually Shelley and Fraser Price will have to slow down, but still ran pretty stinking fast. But yeah, the blowout nature of it. It's not a surprise when you run 1061 that it's a blowout, but the fact that she ran that was surprising.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go. Women's 400. Miller Weibo winning 48-36, gets that PB. But Paulino and Felix is where it gets surprising. Also,
Yeah, I'll
Felix
put it
is
as a
on the
3.
Wikipedia page. On the
Yeah.
Wikipedia page, it has, because Felix is 35, they have it listed as a Masters world record, which I just think is something
Wait, since
that
when
I did
is
not expect.
that's hilarious. But since when is 35 been a Masters? I thought it was 40, no?
No, it starts at well, there's age groups going up, 35, 40, 45, and then every 5 years from there. So the old mark was
Okay.
uh let's see. Well, she had all the old marks, I guess, because
Yeah.
of this year. This should not have been a new thing, but I just did not think of her as a Masters athlete. I thought that was pretty funny. Let's go to 800. Thing Mo gets
Uh
the gold.
yeah, that was I guess
Hodgkinson silver.
yeah, Hodgkinson, and then the times behind Mo
Hmm.
would have been slightly surprising, but I don't know. The 1, 2, 3, not I don't know, maybe a 4. You know what I was thinking
Yeah.
earlier, Kevin? You know who would have been fun to see a thing Mo race? Caster Semenya. And
Hmm.
throw in Francine Niyonsaba too. Why not? Maybe Margaret Wambui. All those women against a thing
Yeah.
Mo, that would have been fun. Anyways,
Yeah. Wait. Well, you could look at the 400 say Mboma of Namibia
yeah,
versus Shauna Milawebo would have been
yeah.
interesting as well.
I will say
So
I will say I come in. I know the 400. Shawnee Miller-Webo winning, not a tremendous surprise based on everything she's done. She was the defending champion. Of course, she broke a lot of rules by diving at the end in Rio. We know that Jeff Hassan passing, I should say. But no, I'm just kidding. The fact that she
that's a
ran so
joke, folks.
well, yeah, that's a joke. The fact that she ran so well after completely bombing out of the 200 final was kind of a surprise. I was like,
That was
you just kind
cheating.
of don't really know what you're going to get with Shawnee Miller-Webo sometimes. She's a little inconsistent in the championships, has had some dazzling moments. But the fact that she ran at 48-36 without Salwa Nasser to chase, and she did that after running 24 seconds in the 200 final, whatever that was a couple nights ago, pretty impressive.
Hmm. Yeah, it was just pace work. It was pace work. So she ran. She got that 24 down, so she knew what it was in her legs, and then
She
she goes and
knew
runs a
knew what it
48,
felt like. Yeah, yeah,
36.
yeah.
Yeah, I think she shut it down. Listen, what about this? What about when Emmanuel Career false started in the 400 and came back and got 800-meter gold? So sometimes you got to measure
Yeah, is
your
that like the
efforts.
the Mac
If
Luffy from 2012 pulling out of the 800 and then winning the 1500? It's like
you got to
shouldn't he get
know, you got to
disqualified or
know.
no? I'm just kidding.
No, it was an actual false start, and Miller Wabo started the race. I don't think she went to the well and ran 24 seconds. I'm just going to go out on a limb and
Yeah,
say that. I think
yeah,
she knew that she was not going to be in it and then shut it down. And I think it was a good decision because not only did she win, she ran the best time of her life. Best time
yeah,
of her life.
yeah.
All right.
Well, Kevin, on this
Um,
stream, I have 12 minutes and 49 seconds left. So we don't have more time together. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully, I'll uh, switch over to Fubo TV, and I'll be ready to go. We got what's going on with Poland right here? They have feed bags like in the Tour de France. Looks like she just stopped in at your local
wow.
Whole Foods and picked
Or
up a couple
Bucky's.
things. I've never seen that. Yeah, Bucky. Oh, those are water bottles. What I think what that doesn't seem very economical there. I mean, call me crazy, but that seems like a waste of time.
You don't think it's a good idea to bring all your water bottles in a plastic bag? You don't think that's a good idea? You're you're
How was
you're
your
on the
race? Well, I
record
had
as
to
against.
carry my water the whole time, so that was a little tough. Anyways,
Just the metaphor come to life. Let's finish these ones, and then we can talk about the shoes real quick because we got a shot of the shoes.
hold on,
Kip,
hold on. I can watch the marathon live on Fubo.tv. Hold on, hold on.
okay.
Oh, we're back,
Well,
Kevin. I'm good.
okay. Faith Kipyegon, Laura
Good.
Muir, Safan Hassan. Given everything with Hassan, it's hard to predict, but Kipyegon winning the gold, not a shock. I give that a 2.
I
Hassan,
did, yeah, and
Obiri,
I didn't know
Sagai.
why. I mean, I understand the excitement for the triple. I never gave Hassan a shot to win. I mean, okay, that's a
Mhm.
stretch, but I thought Kipyegon. That's
A
exactly what
shot?
I thought would happen. Yeah, sorry. Okay, a little dramatic, but that's exactly what I thought would happen with Kipyegon. I mean, she's clearly been, she ran. I know she was second in 2019, but you add on another event for Hassan, she falls, and Kipyegon's, 2 more years removed from her pregnancy. I just
Hmm.
that seemed pretty predictable to me, and I thought, it'd be that I did think Hassan obviously would get silver, the race of Laura Mears' life in the championships, no doubt, because normally she
Hmm.
finds a way to screw it up, but she figured this one out this time, so good for her. That one wasn't too surprising though. So I don't know,
Yeah,
two.
and and then I got both hurdle races at a one, maybe the high hurdles at a two. But Camacho Quinn's been so good all year.
Yeah, that one not a surprise at all. The women's that is. Yeah, and the time wasn't as fast, obviously, as we thought it. Based on what everything else we've seen, it wasn't. The time was kind of disappointing, but well, oh well.
So I got 39:52 on the clock. The women's marathon, still a big pack.
Okay, I'm a. You know what I'm thinking right now, Kevin? Is Sephora looks like a nice place to visit. Looks like a nice city. It just
Looks beautiful.
streets are real cleaned off. Looks nice. If someone told me they're running in Tokyo, I would not have any idea I would not be able to be like, "Hey, we sure that's Tokyo?" Or
Hmm.
that looks like Sephora. I do not know the difference. So they could have kept it a secret from me that they moved it to Sephora. I mean, they didn't, because some people would know, but I certainly would not be able to tell you that that's Sapporo and not Tokyo. So I'd throw
You
that out
got
there.
Sally Kipyego up there at the front with Molly Seidel. Like the U.S. is running aggressively. I think that's Tuliamuk that I'm seeing in the back there with the
Yeah,
white hat. They're doing a lot of shots of the trailing pack here, and I mean that's going to change. I think later, at least I hope, because I don't want to see 40th place in the last kilometer. But I want to lock in on this front pack
well, they're
here.
sharing
Also,
sharing ice
there's the
packs
bags.
between
Yeah,
Kipyego and Seidel. It must be pretty warm. They are just dousing themselves with the agua. So that is yeah, Seidel's like running ice all the way around her back, and yeah, this looks a little tough. A lot worse than my 72-degree bedroom right now. I can tell you that.
yeah, and Chepnigich, she's proven in extreme heat again, which is why I
Yeah.
think she's going to be around when the decisive miles come. Oh, cool! We have our first
Hmm.
guy running next to the women's pack appearance. Oh, they cut away.
Oh, there he
Dang
is.
it! Yeah, it's you. Look, road racing it's not a real road race until you have at least one spectator trying to keep up with them on the side of the road. So, all right, mine went to commercial. Let's shoes. So I'm interested in this, Lincoln, because
Yeah.
remember back in the 2020 U.S. Olympic marathon trials, the story was basically shoes.
Oh,
There
dear
was a
Lord.
whole
Yes.
room of alpha flies that you
Oh, yeah. I forgot about
allegedly tried to sneak into to see. You just wanted to see what was in there, and you were not allowed to do that.
that.
And then all the half of the questions at the press conference seemed to be about. There were more questions about the shoes than COVID, and this was a month before everything got shut down for COVID. Do
Not
you
even a
feel
month.
like
No, it was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It was the end of February.
really that's it? Oh, it was the end of
Anyway.
February. Okay, so
Yeah.
now we're here in 2021 August. We have this road race, and I feel like the discussion has obviously lessened a bit, and I think it's attributable to two reasons. One, back then it was just a Nike thing, and everybody's trying to catch up, and now you have
Yeah.
different shoe companies coming up with their own shoes. And two, the new shoe discussion has transferred to the track, and everybody talking about
Yep.
the spikes and the dragonflies, et cetera, et cetera. How do you see it?
Yeah. I mean, it's kept alive by obviously a few people, it seems like. I think Nike has loved all of this. You're right. At the time, obviously, we were covering a marathon, so we're not going to be talking about track spikes. but if my memory serves me correctly, we were just starting to hear around that time the murmurs of, oh, but the, and I no, I guess it was before that because it was in Doha. Doha, I feel like starting to
Yeah.
hear, oh, these new spikes that the Nike athletes have, or at least some of them are wearing, are, I
Hmm.
mean, for lack of a better term, people were calling them cheater spikes. And it's not my words, but I think that, you know, people in the sport, there's always going to be people who are looking for some controversy. So I think it's good that some time obviously has allowed companies to catch up. I'm not a believer in stirring the pot of shoe conspiracies. I'm and a lot. Some of it is fatigue. Uh, but I mean, I don't know. Like Carson Warholm just ran 45.94 in a non Nike spike. So some people
Hmm.
are, would he have been worth 40, sub 45 seconds in Nike spikes? I mean, probably not, right? Uh,
No.
so I think it's just the nature of the, uh, of things shift. Even the people who are bringing up the shoe stuff get tired of it. And then, oh, now there's new spikes things and people get asked about it, quotes are pulled out. It's anything. I'm never going to be one to complain about the media because I've been in the media, and I always think it's a cop out when people say that's just a media thing. It's like, first off, everyone has a platform now. Anyone can make a controversy. It's not just a media thing.
Mhm.
But it's a controversy kept alive by a couple people. I hear. It's funny. I was watching the stream on the track a couple nights ago, and Tim Hutchings tried to just throw in a comment about the shoes, about how there hasn't been much discussion about the the spikes, as far as, like, I guess on the stream or maybe and also in social media. And then the well, maybe he wasn't prepared to talk about it, but his lead commentator just didn't even address it. Just like started talking about something else. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are tired of hearing about it. The I do not view it as big of a thing as possible. I know technology's still going to come. The good thing about this road race is no woman is going to run 2:12 right now, and uh, because it's a slow race. So I tend to think the technology is, I don't know, negated a little bit. As we have
Yeah.
my in the background a true crime documentary I'm still waiting to see about these shoes. Anyways, I've rambled for a bit here, but it is not anything I spend time thinking about anymore.
Yeah. I think on the road, there's been all this time to catch up because of 2020. So any imbalances that were there, they might still exist, but it's much smaller than it was before. And then now you're seeing that same argument transfer to the track where you had all these people wearing non Nike athletes wearing Nike spikes and
Yeah.
not be, getting released for their contracts so they could run in these Nike spikes. But I would guess by the time 2022 rolls around, the development will have caught up or people will have found the shoe that they're comfortable in and then gone from there. But in
You know
these
what's
Olympics,
also, I was going to say what slowed this down too is the coronavirus. I think people have found, even in the track community, even if you're still paying attention, uh, the it feels dumb to complain about shoe technology when we've got it's just there's been bigger things at hand in the world than complaining about what's on people's feet. So it seems like such a
like the
small issue now. I'm
track,
sure it's not for the athletes,
the
but
track is the big issue now. The track.
now
People want
that's,
to talk
yeah,
about the
we're moving
track.
to there is a
But
constant need, and it's a human thing. A tendency to just find some new way to explain a fast time. Oh, it's got to be. I mean, I know that Bob Beeman's jump in Mexico City was at altitude, but imagine if that had happened now. I mean, people would be
mhm,
like,
mhm.
"Well, what was the board? Were there springs under there? You know?"
Yeah.
And the board company would, wanting to market their board to other, I don't know, potential track builders and purchasers. I don't know.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Yeah, it's the springiest board you've ever seen. we really built it with a lot of technology, and that stirs the controversy when
Yeah.
all they're really doing is putting marketing out for their product. I mean, that's what Mondo's doing with the track, and that's what Nike's doing too. And I just think it's all so dumb. But anyways,
Yeah, I think too, people they go down the list of like, how can I lessen this performance? And for a while, and then you check off the familiar boxes, and then with this one, it's like, oh, it's the track's issue, which is funny because they're talking about how crazy the times are, which we know that there were some insane times, right? We know that the Warholm Benjamin race and the McLaughlin Muhammad race were insane. They were really fast. And we know that Thompson Hurrah running number 2 all time is quick. But from the outside looking in, of someone who just tuned into track this week, they are saying, wow, cool guys, you had 3 world records. 3. That's it.
yeah,
Not
I mean,
not
it feels
swimming where it's 20. It's 3 a night
everything's
in
a
swimming a lot
yeah,
of the times. Yeah. So
yeah.
like to say that this is going to like lessen people's interest in track, and this is what we got
No,
into before when we talk about the shoes, it's almost the opposite. You'd want to make the track faster to get more people interested in track, so they're seeing
yeah.
historic performances.
100%, and I agree with it entirely, and I just don't. It's not like there weren't fast times before there were quote unquote super shoes. I just think people tend to get faster as we continue to learn more information. Shoemakers make better shoes, and athletes get faster, and there's always progression. I
Yeah.
know there are some events where you go 30 to 40 years without a world record, and I think the right athlete has to come along, and so that can just because there's a world record doesn't mean there's something nefarious going on. I sometimes it does. We know that, but it doesn't mean it every time. And just if somebody runs faster than somebody else, we don't have to be up in arms about it. It's typically a good thing when world records are set. So yeah, I'm just very much over it, over the old the shoe take, the technology, and the anti-technology movement. I don't understand it. It's done nothing negative to the sport in my eyes. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, once it got to be balanced, I think that was the key thing. It's just like, is everybody on
Yeah,
even playing or relatively even playing field? Because when you have a sport that's fueled by sponsorship of shoe companies who are developing new products, you can always say, hey, this person's going to have more resources than that person. This person can try this new technology this other person can get. So it's never going to be completely equal, but now at least we're closer to it. It is hotting up in this marathon, Lincoln, and
yeah. I
a
like this
balance
strategy by
water
Chumba
bag
of
balance
Bahrain.
contest. Yeah.
Hmm. Should give Gordon a run for his money with the balancing there. He's known to put a chair on top
Yeah.
of his head, but try running a marathon with an ice pack, a melting ice pack on your head. It's a new one.
I think this I think this race is starting to loosen up, and then I go back and oh wait, nope, they're all there together. So you got Maeda and Seidel up there, all the big players are there from Kenya and Ethiopia, and just a lot of shots at people way back in the pack still. We're doing that
Yeah, they tend
still.
to
I
do
guess
that
we're
in championship marathons. I will say, Kevin, it's good. With this new crop of American, and I know that Tulia Mock and Kipyego are veterans of the marathon, but the with this new era where we no longer, Shalane Flanagan's not running it anymore. Des Lennon didn't make the team, and Amy Craig's retired, and obviously Kara Goucher there before that. But this new crop of women representing the U.S. in the marathon, you when you haven't seen some of them race in a bit, and they're an experience at the Olympic marathon, it's you kind of worry is everybody going to show up healthy? But the
Mhm.
Americans, I don't think they're going to end up probably all in this final pack when moves are starting to be made. But it does seem that everyone's healthy. I know Seidel's got some tape on her knee, but it's just good after it's been so long since the trials, obviously, to just have all Americans be up there and healthy. You're reminded, I think, back of Ryan Hall in London, Des Linden in London as well, and Abdi, I believe Abdi dropped out in 2012. It's just not a guarantee that everyone's going to show up healthy. So it's at least good to see that they're just out there going for it. I don't think they're gonna, notch top 5 finishes, but you just never know. You got to be able to run the full race, and it looks like we're at least gonna have that from the Americans. So good sign.
Right. And there's still so much, I mean, distance left too, but you just look at the amount of people that are in this group. You got Melanie Elmore of Canada, you got Schlumpf of Switzerland, you got Jeptu of France, you got all sorts of countries represented in that front group. It's not like we're down to just the Kenyans and the Ethiopians,
No, and
and
we will be
a couple people
eventually,
hanging around.
right?
Yeah,
I mean, this this
yeah.
this will be. I mean, it almost you wonder like what is the best path for one of these Americans who are, huge underdogs? Like, would it have been more likely for them to pick up a medal if somebody had taken it out fast and like 5 people went with them, and then you have people drop, really, implode basically, and then you pick people off because the slower nature of the race. I mean, to me, it makes it much harder because somebody at 30K is just gonna launch, for lack of a
Yeah,
better
yeah.
term. And the Americans don't have that foot speed to match a Chepnagich,
Well,
to match a certainly a Kaz guy. So uh, I'm not trying to be negative
just
too much here, but you kind of want somebody to take it out early, and that gives that little breakaway chance for people to pull back, and then that's how you pick up a medal if you're an underdog like Seidel, Kipiego, or Tulimak. But
here's what we forget sometime with the Olympic marathon. We look at the gap, and in many times there is a gap between the U.S. and the top seeds, but then we forget that there's just a bigger gap between the U.S. and that next tier. There's a whole bunch of other countries that are
yeah, that's true.
slower. So when you're like, okay, who's the top 20 in this marathon, or who's the top 15? It makes plenty of sense to be like, yeah, the Americans will be in there if there's 15, 20 people left, and that's the
Sure,
situation here too with
sure.
uh, Sally Kipiego and Molly Seidel. There's people who have, they are much better in in terms of PRs, in terms of major marathon performances than a lot of these athletes, and that's what's showing. Now, this is still so early, so they could
Yeah.
ultimately regret this move. Basically, all that to say, nothing's happened yet. But nothing has happened in this race.
Yeah, but this has been a good ad for me for Sapporo tourism industry. I may have to visit someday, Kevin. This is looking like a pretty nice city. Kevin, I'm gonna step away just for a moment to help my 5-year-old.
Yeah, yeah,
He's got a question. This
no
this
problem.
child help brought to you by BetterHelp. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be right back though.
All right. Well, we'll take you off camera. We'll go full screen to me. So you got questions? Put them in the chat here. Looks like we're seeing a move being made at the moment now. Well, Maeda's up at the front. Saw a little. Is that a little teamwork there we're seeing between Seidel and Sally Kipiego? Are they handing something off there? I can't tell. I can't tell what that picture is of. Travis looks like they're sharing something. We saw them sharing sponges earlier on, so it makes sense. But you still got no definitive moves there up front, and I don't think anybody's in a hurry to take the lead. Oh, it's ice. It's ice. They're sharing a bag of ice. Man, major 7-Eleven run needed to take place before this race to get all the bags, all the ice. Shout out to the organizers for making this go. Again, you got questions? Throw them in the chat. Predictions for this race or predictions for the last session on the track or the men's marathon that's going to happen about 24 hours from now. Throw them in the chat. Got that nice overhead shot there, about 15 or 20, maybe closer to 15 actually. Looks like someone asked, does anyone know if Sydney and Dalila are still in Tokyo or back in the U.S., given they're meant to ship out within 2 days of their event final? Well, I hope they're running the 4x4. I hope they're not back in the U.S. They need to be in Tokyo still. They're in the 4x4. Lincoln, I think something interesting happened here, and
What's up?
we had talked before about the 4x4. That had been the long discussion. Who's going to be in the 4x4? Who's going to be in the 4x4? And a lot of people could make a claim for it. And we talked about Allison Felix. Would she make her way on the team? A thing Mo. She's
Yes.
run uh, ridiculously fast this year. And then you have Muhammad and McLaughlin, not 400-meter flat runners, but ran on the relay in 2019. And obviously, you can extrapolate how fast they would go if they win all out. It's pretty clear now the four that they're going to select, I think, with an option of fifth. But Felix getting a bronze medal and being the number one U.S. runner in the Olympic final just made things a lot easier. I think Athing Mu will get a spot with Muhammad and McLaughlin, but if not, I guess you'd run back Quinera Hayes, although she had a rough time out of lane 2. But what do you think of the women's 4x4?
Well, yeah, I mean, it should be some form of Muhammad McLaughlin, which it was in Doha. So I don't think that'll be in trouble. With Allison Felix, that one's obvious. And then I think Mo, but I don't know if they'll put Mo on because she's an 800-meter runner, and Hayes, won USA's and then was a finalist in the 400. She just happened to run poor in the final. You're not losing too much either way. I do think it would be awesome to have the upstart in Athing Mu, young phenom, with somebody who's kind of on the way out, in an all-time great in Allison Felix, put them on the same team, and then these two great 400-meter hurlers. I mean, that's a really fun group. I'm not, no discredit to Hayes. We'll see. That should clearly be the team. But it's not like you're going to lose the gold, I don't think, if you put Hayes on instead of Mo. But it's those three, Muhammad, McLaughlin, and Felix, those are guaranteed in my eyes.
Yeah, and it could have been a lot more complicated if Felix had finished 5th and Hayes had finished 4th, but that didn't ultimately, or Jonathan had made the final, but that ultimately didn't happen. So I think it's pretty straightforward. Jamaica's going to have a good team. Jamaica's going to have a really good team because they got 4-5 in the Open 4 with McPherson and McLeod both going well under 50 seconds. You'd think maybe Sharika Jackson would come back. Remember how good she was in the 400 before she moved to the 1 and the 2, and you have a strong foundation for a team there too. They also, Geneve Russell from the 4-meter hurdles could be in the mix. So yeah, I think this is going to be a two-team race, obviously, and U.S. should win it with their firepower up front, but Jamaica is going to push them here, and they're going to need they don't have much margin for error. So it's good that Felix is running basically the fastest she's run the second best time of her life, and then McLaughlin and Muhammad look like they're going to go even faster than they did in Doha. I want to talk about the men's race in a second, but we got a DNF there. That's Ymir of Ethiopia, who just stepped off. By the way, your audio got really crappy when you came back in. I don't know if that's just me, but I don't know. Did your son steal your microphone or something?
Oh, geez. Let's see. Hopefully. Okay.
All right. Lincoln is working on it.
We're working on it,
thanks to
folks.
the great production here of Colt and Travis. We're making sure that Lincoln knows which buttons to click. It's difficult. He's out there, Taylor, Texas. Technology, not his strong suit. He just learned about Command C when he was at Flow. He did not know how to copy and paste things with shortcuts. It was all just he would manually type things over until Gordon found out one day, and Gordon was just furious with him. Anyway, all right. So we got this. Let's reset this group. Maida, Seidel, Kipyego. We got Chepnegich, Jeb Cheer, and Kosgei. Salpeter is up there as well. Elmore is up there. Looks to be about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know, 15 still. It still hasn't gotten going here yet. Lincoln, are you able to talk now?
Yeah, can you hear me? Do I sound okay?
Still sounds terrible, but whatever. Okay. It's fine. People are commenting in the chat. Sounds like he's using his webcam mic, not the mic. It's good. We got tech help going
people
on.
Are, I'm trying to fix this, folks. I'm trying to get this.
Yeah.
Didn't think people would be so critical.
No, they're trying to help. 19 in the front pack. Someone in the chat said 19 in the front pack. let's talk about the men's 4x4 though, real quick. U.S. got the top time in qualifying. All the times were fast. You had to run under 3 minutes to make it to the final. Now, of course, the U.S. men did not run Benjamin, Norman, or Cherry. So they have a couple options here too, and they have a couple sure things. One sure thing, I think Rye Benjamin anchors. And you take that to the bank, you lock that in. Second sure thing, you get Cherry in there. Obviously, PB'd in the final of the Open 4, just missed a medal. Norman needs to run. He was just a few hundredths away from Cherry in there. Not the race he wanted, but he is still the next best guy. Then that next group is a bit wide open because you can find the splits out there of the group that ran in the first round. Deadman was in that group. Vernon Norwood was in that group. Randolph Ross was in the group, and Trevor Stewart. They did the USA and T group there with 50% of the guys from North Carolina A&T. I don't think anybody necessarily blew it out of the water with that quartet. So maybe you go with Norwood and the experience, and he's your fourth guy. But there's also another guy looming, Lincoln, who's run some 400s in his day.
I've heard of him.
That's a guy by the name of Fred Curley. What do you think they should do?
How's my mic sounding, first off? Good to go. Okay. What do I think they should do? Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the redemption tour with Fred Curley. Don't think they will do that. So I mean, Randolph Ross should, it looks like here, these splits, it looks like Deadman had the fastest split. That can be a little deceiving though. Mm-hmm. Gosh. I think they should
Deadman
go with Curley.
Well.
Yeah.
Deadman ran well in Hungary. Remember he beat Norman in that race. It was second to Gardner.
Okay. I mean, there's not too. I mean, I wouldn't go with Stewart. Obviously, yeah, maybe they'll go with Deadman. I mean, I guess if you're looking at it from a perspective of who's got the hot hand, I guess take it to Deadman. I don't think they'll actually put Curley on there because he's kind of right now switched from the event. He may not. Who knows if he could run a sub 44 right now? I'm sure he could, but he's been training differently, a little bit differently, I would imagine. So, yeah, I guess I don't know. I would say put Deadman on there.
You agree, though? Rye Benjamin's got to anchor?
Well, yeah, with how Norman is just off right now. He just hasn't been his 43, 45 self this year. And Rye Benjamin, let's see what he can do. I mean, we know he's got, I think he could run 43. He could split faster than 43.5 right now based on what he's doing in the 400 hurdles. So, and what he's done previously in the Open 4 and in the 4x4. So, yeah, absolutely. He's running the best of anyone. I have pretty good faith in that this team will win. Norman, for his relative struggles, knowing from compared to his standard, I guess, is a bit of a question mark. But the guy can run a stinking 4x4. I mean, let's not forget what he did. 3 years ago when he split like 43-0 or something. So this team should win. Sure, you can have Benjamin anchor. I don't think it matters I think a little bit too much pressure is put on who runs the anchor in a 4x4. I'm not too concerned about who runs which legs.
If there is pressure, that's the person you want with it is Rye Benjamin. When's the last time Rye Benjamin's had a bad race? He's lost races because he happens to be going against the greatest 400-meter hurdler of all time, basically fastest for sure. I mean, people can talk about Edwin Moses and stuff, but he never underperforms, and that's what you want. I mean, he has the best top end right now of anybody in that group, and he's the most reliable. So you put those two things together, I think it's a no-brainer that he needs to anchor that relay.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe they just put Cole Hawker after his 1500. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be fun if they just did an all distance runner at the Olympics. Yeah, I just don't. I mean, they should win this relay. Who offers the stiffest challenge? You said a lot of people went sub 3. I'm trying to remember who's usually good in the men's 4x4. Who am I thinking of? It can't be Jamaica.
Their heat was the fastest, and the runner-up was Botswana with a 358. Then you had Poland,
With
358.
258, but
Trinidad. Oh, sorry, 258. 258. 358 is when the R team gets out there. Not the B team, not the D team, the R team. Trinidad, Tobago 258, Italy 258, Netherlands 259, Jamaica 259, and Belgium 259. That was the list.
I mean that on paper the US should with Benjamin and Norman and Cherry should absolutely crush any of these people. So I'm not worried about who's running what legs. I see that everybody ran comparable times, but my goodness, the talent on the US team is just extraordinarily at a higher level than the rest of these groups. So it'll be a pretty big disappointment if they don't come away with gold here. There's just, just not enough talent for everybody else. But I don't see how it happens.
Can you pull up those splits again, Travis, one more time? Because none of the teams in that final really featured that I can think of big time. Because the 400 was Gardner, right? And Bahamas isn't in it. It was Zambrano.
Yeah.
Colombia didn't qualify. And then it was Karai James, Grenada's not in there. And then you get to the Americans in 4 and 5. I just want to see if there's anybody in this group. Did anybody split sub 44 that I can see? Yeah. So Doria Botswana closed with a 43.95. Anybody in the second heat that did it?
That's still not. I mean, 43.95 is fast, but it's not like, I don't know. It's not out of
when
this
Michael
world.
Cherry runs. When Michael Cherry runs 44 low in an open, he can definitely split 43 high on a relay or the equivalent, depending on his leg. And and then Nathan Allen, 43.93, and Zalewski 43.
That doesn't scare me. And there's only
Lincoln
two Borley brothers. There's only two Borley brothers on Belgium's team. I mean, they're only scary when they have all three. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, they need to be. They need to be ready. They need to be ready, and I think things like the order are going to matter because these teams aren't going to back down, and they also have the capability of putting multiple guys out there who can split 43, like very low 43s, and all those were 43 high. So the possibility of Rai Benjamin splitting a 43-2 is pretty good if you look at his history in the 400 and look at the fact that he's running 46.1 in a 400-meter hurdle race.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. That race over anything else I feel like that it's the event. Obviously, I'm biased towards track and field, but it's the event of the entire Olympics, in my opinion.
Wow.
I just don't know. I'm trying to think of the other iconic moments. Dressel in swimming did really well, I guess, but what Warholm did ripping off his jersey, it stands out. Yeah. It stands out.
All right, let's check back in. We're at about halfway here. I see 20 kilometers, and
there we go.
Salpeter is at the front. Hopefully, we'll get this halfway split here. Jepchirchir. So that's 20K. That's not 21K. 21.1K. Jepchirchir, Chepnegich, Dereje, Koskai, Kajeta of Germany, who's good. She's been
that's right.
Solid on the roads before. Seidel is there, Johannes, and then Kipyego, Chumba, Debaba, Chemutai. That next group. I want to see though how many people, because it's tough. They surge to get into this water stop, which is really, again, basically stopping at 7-Eleven because you're grabbing bags of ice, you're grabbing water bottles, you're grabbing stuff for your friends. I see a couple people out there with sun chips, which is an interesting choice. And then it bunches back together. So you think that there's going to be a move, but it's really they're just jostling for that best parking spot when they stop for these goodies here. But I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 away. So Seidel's not in that group, and Kipiego's not in that group. Now maybe that'll close back together a bit once we get farther away from the water station. But there was at least a little bit of a separation there, which can't be welcomed at this point of the race.
Yeah. Well, it's welcome as far as just for my viewing exclusively, selfishly, because this has been a dull one, Kevin, to start out. I will say this is a little slow going. I know it's a marathon, it's hot, and it is a championship race. There's Molly Seidel's warm up today. Got in a quick 0.96 at 8:41 pace. So now we know how she warms up. That's good to know.
There you go.
She found time to post that.
Maybe an auto. Maybe she went back to the hotel or something, or it syncs automatically.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm old school. I plug mine in and I never plug it in. Okay, I think this is, if the camera would zoom back a little bit, is this the group? 1, 2.
There we go.
3,
of course
4,
we
5,
missed the
6,
break,
9.
Kevin. Of course we missed it.
It was about 11. It wasn't much of a break. It was just, okay. So Dereje is back. She's off the pace. So it looks like we're down to 1 from Ethiopia, which should be Dibaba. We have Seidel and Kipiego's back in there. So this is halfway here.
Wow. Halfway at 1:15. My goodness.
1:15:13. So Jepchirchir, Dereje. Sorry, it's Dereje, not Dibaba. Salpeter, Kosgei, Seidel, Chepnegitz, Kajeta, Kipiego, Chumba, Johannes, and then it went to a commercial break. So I think is there 10 in that group? I'm trying to figure out. Wait, Travis has got like these aerial shots. It's like a Jason Bourne movie or something like that on this feed.
It looks like 11.
11? Okay.
11 in this top group. Americans still all there, right? Or did I miss something? I think they're all there.
Tuliamuk's not in that group, but Seidel and Kipiego. Yeah. So 1:15:14 is the half.
That's why the Americans are all still there, because 1:15.
According to Ryan in the chat. Well, you got to adjust it for the heat. This is good though. If there's only 11 left, and,
it's a good sign.
You're one of the 2. You gotta be there. You got to be there.
This isn't London either. This is, I mean, you just looked at the entry list. It's great. They're in position. This is absolutely as much as you could ask for out of this American group. But you looked at the start list, just not a ton of depth. They cut the field size down a little bit. I don't know if that would have made a difference about the event being deeper. The Olympic marathon's never incredibly deep given the country limits. But this one in particular, I don't know. Besides Kenyans 3, there weren't a ton of names that just popped off the page. So no, Kevin, Tuliamuk's still there.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Where are you seeing?
She's in the blue hat up. She's actually, I think, currently in second. No, I think she might be in first place currently. So where I'm seeing her, Kevin, is in first place. That's where I'm seeing her.
Was her chip not synced?
I think
Travis, can you pull
up
the result?
It must have missed. Unless Kevin, that's salpeter, and I'm just. But
2364.
Unless that's salpeter.
Well, scroll down. Scroll down, Travis. Is she listed farther down on this?
If she's totally missing, that makes sense, right?
That would make more sense. Yeah, she's in 72nd. She's 2 minutes back. You're looking at
okay.
Else.
So that I'm sorry. So that just looks like her, but I think it's salpeter. Okay. Well, now I feel like an idiot. I made a joke and everything, and then I will say it does. But now obviously you see the kits are different. But they got the white top like the American team, and there be the confusion. Sorry about that, folks. So I know a lot of people were hanging on every word I said. Yeah,
I think the marathoners,
the athlete up here.
Yeah,
sorry.
There's like 7 people in the chat telling you that you're wrong. But it's delayed, so
Yeah.
I find out about it after, which is not as much help. I needed Lincoln to instantly tell me he's wrong. All right.
This is sure
Yeah,
tough going.
So the US like uniforms, they had the relay uniforms, right, which were different
Yeah.
than the regular uniforms,
Right.
which are different than the
Yeah.
marathon uniforms. So they've been switching them out. I get it for this. You don't want to be wearing a dark shirt. Also, they've started a drinking game in the chat. Every time you apologize, someone drinks. So I don't want to
Oh.
influence their drinking, but anytime you say you're sorry, they are drinking.
Gosh, I am very sorry about that. The fact that I have been doing that. So I'm really sorry again. As far as the hierarchy of the U.S. kits, it's got to be these marathon ones for me. These are looking pretty clean.
The relay ones look like
not,
some Captain America stuff. The relay ones,
yeah,
look like superheroes,
I'll be honest. I'm usually not the guy to be like to rank uniforms. That's more your space, Kevin. But
Yep.
I was not the biggest fan of those. I just thought there was way too much going on. Now I'm glad they've changed them from the 2016 style, because they kind of went with that for a few years, and they went with that all the way through 2019. But there's just, I don't know, there's just too much going on with those for me. But it kind of, I don't know, it just looks like how like in like gas stations you can buy like a hat of the local NFL team, but it's like clearly like a secondhand, like it's a hat that is not officially sanctioned by the NFL. That kind of looks like what these uniforms are. They're like the USA kits that somebody just made at their house. That's kind of what it reminds me of.
So you like the marathon ones better, the simple blue script over white.
It's much easier, much simpler.
I just didn't like all those. I didn't like all those years when it was just like solid red, basically.
Yeah, no. I agree. They're trying. It's good.
You're not knocking the effort. I want to ask you about something else. So there's been a lot of talk about the U.S. medal count here, and the U.S. is, U.S. men haven't won a medal on the track at all, a gold medal, that is. Just Krauser in the field so far. Could change tomorrow with the 4x4. But whenever I hear talk about U.S. medal count and struggles, I think back to recent memory, and the biggest struggle was at 2015 World Championships where you were, where the U.S., depending on how you look at medal count, like if you look at gold or if you look at the whole thing, they didn't even get to 20. And I think both Kenya and Jamaica got more medals, more gold medals than they did. The total count was actually 16 for Kenya, 12 for Jamaica, 18 for the U.S. So they got more total medals. Let me start this again. Yeah. You were at the 2015 championship, Lincoln, when the U.S. only got 18 medals. They only got 18 medals. 6 of them were gold. Jamaica and Kenya had 7 golds apiece. What do you remember about that? Do you see any parallels to what's going on this year?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem as that's why seeing the narrative, and I get it now when I see how many favorites we had coming into the U.S. had coming into this meet, that this has been a disappointing meet. But to me, it doesn't compare to Beijing. Beijing was much worse. Things seemed much more dire, because really, I feel like besides Gatlin, I know he didn't win gold, but he won. I think he got silver in the 100 and the 2, if I'm not mistaken. There was just nothing. The 400. I could be wrong. There could be a couple in there that I'm missing, but nothing in the 400, nothing in the 800, nothing in the 15. The
silver
the
in the 400
was nothing.
With merit. So
okay.
It was silver in the
my bad. I forgot. Yeah. Merit to Van Niekerk. Okay. But it just felt like it was much more dire than this. This obviously a lack of golds here, but Beijing was just a lack of medals, period. So,
yeah, like this was the list. It was, as you mentioned, Gatlin silver in the 100 and 200, Merritt silver in the 400, no medals in the 8, no medals in the 15, no medals in the 5, 10 marathon. Aries Merritt got a bronze in the high hurdles, nothing in the 400-meter
Yeah.
hurdles, nothing in the steeple, 4x1, nothing. They won gold in the 4x4, and then in the field, Taylor, Kovacs, Eaton all got gold. So there were 3
Oh,
field
yeah,
event
that's
golds,
right.
which is
Okay.
going to be right, and that's going to be more for the men this time around, right? But you just look at the overall total of medals; it's way down, and the women struggled there too. Whereas here, the women are doing pretty well. Allison Felix was the
Mhm.
only gold medalist on the track, and then on the field, in the field, it was just Tiana Bartoletta. So I bring this
Mhm.
up to say, what happened after 2015 to 2019, where the next time you're at the World Championships in 2019, the U.S. got over 30 medals, and they got gold medals all over the place, which set them up for this lofty goal going into 2021. What changed between 2015 with USA Track and Field and 2019? Absolutely nothing is the answer. They did not do anything different because you can't do anything different because you
Yeah.
can't fire the coach. Which coach are you going to fire? They'll have different coaches. You're going to move the
Yeah.
Olympic trials around. You're going to change the way the NCAA system is. No, you're not going to do that stuff. That 2015, I mean, it was a comedy of errors, correct? The U.S. women's high
Yeah.
hurdlers got shut out, and people thought they could sweep going in. It was just there was DQs, there was
Yeah.
all sorts of issues that were a bit fluky, but it happens. It happens.
Yeah, it does, and it's tough to explain. It was, just 2019 being the second championship event I had covered, a global championship event I had covered. I was genuinely surprised with how well the U.S. did, just coming off of my first experience, which was so poor for the U.S.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe with Doha, it set a little bit of an expectation that there would be some dominance, and there, to be sure, there's been some disappointments. It does happen. I don't think we tend to look at, you take the failures of the 4x1 and you kind of extrapolate that out. And when there's,
Yeah.
I guess, disappointments in other events, we look at the whole thing like it was this massive failure. I mean, there's nothing we can necessarily attribute it to. It's not like, like you said, they don't have the same coaches. It's not like
Yeah.
it's like, well, they didn't get them ready. Everybody's talking to different people. It's a team only in the fact that they were all from the same country.
Relays, just relays.
Yeah, and it's just real. Yeah, well, and with the U.S. on the, and specifically the men, we know the problem is and I assume the women are the kids the same way, although they seem to be closer and have better handoffs for whatever reason. They don't practice together, and that's just that whether. I don't know why we continue to do that. I do know to an extent it's because these athletes all have individual events that they obviously prioritize at a much higher level, to the point where they're just never going to have the chance to come together too much. But it does seem still like there's, even beyond that, there's a disinterest in practicing, even when they do get together after U.S. teams have been made. There seems to be just this apathy towards practicing the technical things that really matter, especially in the 4x1. And that's disappointing. I understand that, but everything else is just in the flow of an Olympic Games, and it changes from event to event. I realize the Olympics are higher, but maybe next year at World Championships that are in the U.S., if there's a similar type of performance, we can say, wow, U.S. really dropped the ball. We're in our home country and we're not performing. Maybe that will register a little bit more for me, but I don't look at. It's not like I'm like watching these events and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how bad the U.S. is doing. I look at it as, well, the rest of the rest of the world's pretty good at track and field. I know we're the best at it, but we've known this is not a surprise in the 4x1. We've known this has been a problem for forever, and
Yeah. Well, it's not like they're out of
it is
right?
it's just in the flow of things, just like how the Yankees don't win the World Series every year, the Dodgers don't win the World Series every year. I know they spend the most money, they may have the most resources, but it's just it's sometimes how the cookie crumbles, Kevin, and you just got to live with it.
Well, everybody's focusing on the men's 1, 2, 4 high hurdles, low hurdles, and we'll put the relay aside for a second because we've talked about that ad nauseum on this pod, and because that is the one part that does have a team-ish component to it. But silver in the 100, silver and bronze in the 200. They get shut out of the 400, but then silver in both hurdle races. So those 5 races, there were silvers in 5 of them. It'd be one thing if they're not making finals, and you're basically going back to late, early 2000s men's U.S. distance running in the United States, where they're just a non-factor. They're still there, just stuff's happening. The reason why it's a big deal is because they had gold medal favorite in the 100, they had a gold medal favorite in the 200, they had the gold medal favorite probably up until a month ago or so in the 400, they had the gold medal favorite in the high hurdles, and they had a gold medal contender, we'll say, in the low hurdles. And it's interesting because of those event groups, like we talked about, the one who ran the best, right, was the one where the chance to get the gold medal was the least, because you happen to be going up against Carson Warholm. It's just the way it worked out.
Of all time.
Right.
And don't make no mistake. I mean, there were some disappointments, right? Bromell completely, underperformed for lack, for to put it mildly. He completely disappointed based on what we had seen in 2021 before this. And Lyles, if you look at where he was in 2019 compared to the rest of the 200 field, he disappointed, although, he hadn't been up to that level immediately prior to the Olympics. So I see the disappointment there with Norman too. Again, the guys run 43-45. But, he did take a step forward based on, I know he was injured in 2019, but he did take a step forward going up and finishing 4th. I mean, he may not be the generational talent. 5th. Okay. He may not be the generational talent. We thought he was the next coming of Van Niekerk. He may not be that. And the 43-45 may have thrown us off a bit, but he's kind of been, he hasn't been dominant in the 400 for like 2 years now. So, I mean, it was disappointing, but relatively not surprising. So I don't know. There's a few guys who underperformed, and then the rest of it, you're just going to lump it in, but it's a little convenient just to be like, oh, look at this. And then we didn't win the 800, and then we didn't win the 1500. Well, we had the reigning, we had Donovan Brazier, and he didn't even make the team. And then Centro was the defending champion in the 15. It's like, there's many more factors that we're not including when we just like add in all these events and look at the lack of medals. It's I don't know. It's a little convenient to try to make it look so negative.
Yeah. You said that the favorites underperformed, but look at the people who got 2nd and 3rd in the trials and how well they ran. Fred Curley got a silver medal. Kenny Bednarek got a silver medal. Michael Cherry ran his lifetime best and finished 4th. If I had told you going into the season that Michael Cherry is going to finish 4th, you would have liked the U.S. medal chances there. Look at Devin Allen, runs 13-14 and gets 4th in the high hurdles. If I had told you that result, you'd be like, okay, Holloway, gold medal probably, or Holloway's going to run sub 13. So it was the group that struggled was the group who really had that potential to get gold, which is why the medal count gets skewed and you have those issues. But you got to dig a little bit deeper, especially when you have such a small sample size. 3 out of every 4 years, there's a global championship to compare this to, and it's one meet that happens, and then we draw these conclusions from it.
And I mean, no, you're not, not including him on purpose, but and I know he didn't medal, but I mean, Arian Knighton is 17 years old and he got 4th in the 200 at the Olympics. It's even if we're I don't know if we're just looking at this event as a vacuum as a disappointment or what it says about the future of U.S. track and field, but I think it's going to be okay. Christian Coleman's coming back in the 100. Arian Knighton is going to be, may by next year's time be the best 200 meter runner in the world at 18. The 800 next year, Donovan Brazier will be back. Grant Holloway will probably be the best high hurdler in the world next year. You don't know what will happen with Warholm and Benjamin. Benjamin probably still chasing Warholm. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's disappointing, but it is for our long narrative here, it is to me nothing close to Beijing. Beijing was just like you said, like a comedy of errors. Like you said, the women's high hurdles, nobody medaling, was a complete disaster. It was just awful all around. So this doesn't compare for me.
All right, we've had another move here in the marathon as they're going to a aid station, and things are broken up here. Seidel is still hanging, as far as I can see, with that group. Kipyego got dropped, but Molly Seidel
is that right?
Is there? Yeah, I'm looking.
See,
at
I'm seeing right now
we're-
a Molly Seidel highlight package from the trials, so I guess I must be behind of where you're at right now, Kevin.
Well, we
Are
have
you just looking at
you're probably
splits?
on the. No, I'm on the world feed, so I'm not getting any of the highlights or any of the glitz and glam that you are, Lincoln. I'm
on the
back
USA
of the pack
Network,
now.
Kevin. Yeah.
I am not on the
On the
USA
USA Network.
So they have
home of
That's one thing.
Suits and various other
9.
fantastic
There's
programming.
9 left. There's 9 left. So
9
we
left.
have Kozgai, Jep Chirchir, Shep Nagets, Kajeta. We have Salpeter, Seidel. Melindy Elmore is in there. Travis, we have the latest splits up there. Is that possible to get? I don't know. Let's see. We're at 26.6K. But that's a group.
Still
And then
there.
now they're panning back to the two chasers who are, it said 7 seconds back, and Kipyego is in that group. So she's still running well. I think there's going to be some people fall off that front pack too. So chance to move up. Man, Seidel, she's running well.
Ooh.
She's hanging in there.
They just over here on the USA Network, they just showed her watch party back home, and her mom looks to be a nervous wreck. So, I mean, got to be also having just a ton of fun. Fortunately, they out here, I don't know if you saw it, they have a dust box. Is that where you're supposed to put your bottles after you drop them? Is that what they? Is that? I guess if you have any spare lint or dust, you can drop that off while you're running in the Olympic marathon.
Yeah. I saw when
they
were at that last water station. Jip Chirchir surged to the front and then put 2 fingers out like she was ordering at a bar or something to make sure she got 2 water bottles, so then she could hand off. Much more team oriented than the major marathons where everyone has their special bottle and it's decorated, and then you're just mostly concerned about yourself. The Chumba is also still in there, and then is that Johannes from Namibia?
I think that's right. Yeah,
I believe that's who that is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. I guess I shouldn't be. I mean, I guess she showed, preternatural ability in the marathon for Seidel with, making the trials in her first marathon, running pretty well in that London marathon last fall. But this is a big stage to be running this well. She is. We've still got a while to go. We're just about nine plus miles to go. So obviously a lot can change. But this is a great performance from Seidel, just to be up here with this group.
Mm-hmm. Someone asked who Gordon bet on. He bet on Perez Jep Chirchir. So she's probably done for.
It's still
at this point. Probably not here's his bets. Here's Gordon's bets if you want to see. So he's minus $402 right now. And he got
But Jep Chirchir is still up there, Kevin.
Yeah, but Gordon bet on her. So he only
I see what you're saying. I see. Yeah, I mean, I know he got Chelimo a medal. He bet on that, so that hit. He's got this. Mm-hmm. What has he got? The Katie Najot and Johannes Vetter parlay. That will probably that'll probably
Vetter
hit.
Should win. Vetter is the favorite of all favorites. That'll probably hit. How many times have we said that? Yeah. I'd give him 540. Yeah. But there's a lot here that's like, maybe Ingebrigtsen gold, maybe 4x4.
Yeah,
Great Britain. You put the women's 4x4 for Great Britain. You put it's for one spot basically because U.S. and Jamaica are going to be there. Rupp to medal. He's really big on. Mahuchik, she looks good, but you're laying money. And the Obiri thing plus 800. I get it because you want a big return, but man, I don't know. Latensipik is pretty dang good.
Now I missed this. He bet on everything. What is it? Was this like $5,000 worth of bets? How much money did he put into this?
I think he did about 100, usually $100 per event, but in some of them he did less. He was up at $900 at one point. His whole thing was, I'm going to end up even, and then I'm going to show that betting is kind of dumb. But here's the other side of that: you could lose money in betting.
You could lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
could.
Yeah, you can
lose.
absolutely lose money on that. Gordon's $4,500. That's what I'm seeing on the screen here as Travis communicates through here. That's listen, everybody knows we make I can't say we anymore because I don't work there. But FloTrack employees make the big bucks and can bet.
He didn't have kids.
Bet that type of money. I guess so. I guess that's where all my money goes. It disappears down the well of children's toys. But yeah, my goodness, that's quite the cash to throw down on that.
When he was up whatever $900, I said quit and just say you're going to keep going, and just keep filling out your spreadsheet and keep your bets, but don't actually bet. But he won't listen to me. But
that's what you could have just.
He's betting on them to medal in the 4x4. Someone asked, why is he betting on them to Great Britain to win the 4x4? It's to medal in the 4x4.
What was his? I'm trying to see. Oh, those are like his good. So we have like his good performances here. I want to see his really ugly ones. Where are?
Well,
wait, these all look
good. Green is winning. Red is losing. So he lost with Sagai. Oh,
those
gold.
are his.
I
thought he had negative. Oh, I thought he had negative. Okay, I thought one was negative. Okay, so he had Baker winning gold in the 100. What is he doing? Oh, he bet on Baker and Curly. I see what he was doing. Okay. Okay, Benjamin Gold. Yeah, see, I could have told him to not do that. Deanna Price. That was unfortunate. Miller Weibo medal in the two. He's had some tough ones. The Allman. I will say he's matched that with some pretty good ones. I mean, parlaying the Kenny Harrison medal with the Valerie Allman gold, that's a pretty solid parlay there. The Tentaglue gold too, that was good.
Clutch. Yeah. I like his Weissidinger in the discus to medal, like with the plus 225. He got himself off to a really good start with a niche pick there. But then he complains about, he barely lost on Riki, he lost on Curly relatively close. He lost a lot of his close, but he also technically that was the last attempt that he lost in. So he lost. This is the one we're looking at isn't even updated because Scantling and Williams, he had them to medal. He lost both of those. And then
okay. And the Holloway, the triple
Holloway ruined his parlay.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. He had it tough. And then he lost it.
That was tough.
Cherry just missed the medal, but he got it with Chilimo. So there you go. That's a Gordon betting update for everybody.
I mean, he's doing better than I would have done, right? But that's why I don't bet. That's why I don't gamble.
I quit when I got to 900. I said this is what I would do. The only because famously I said I'm gonna put everything on no allows. But going into the Olympics, what I would have done is I saw if I actually had money to bet, is Krauser was minus 300, which means you'd have to lay 300 to win 100. But I actually would have bet that.
Done that. Yeah.
Like that was the surest thing out there. Now you could say, in retrospect,
sure,
you should have known. You could have. Miller Weibo would have made sense. But that's the one. You could probably get some good value on some to medal odds. But in terms of gold, it was Krauser. It was always Krauser. That's where we should have focused all of our attention.
Travis is always trolling here. I guess you lost your house the other night in the 200. Yeah, it says Kevin is betting his house on Noah Lyles winning Olympic gold.
I don't want to talk about that anymore. It's been
Seidel's
in the front.
I didn't.
Molly Seidel.
Yeah.
She's leading this thing.
Does your mortgage company know that they can reclaim the house? I guess they've always had the house.
The difference in me and Gordon, I hypothetically bet things. He literally bets things. That's the difference between the two of us.
Yeah.
This is a story developing here with Seidel in this group. And again, a lot of time still left to go. We still got 13 kilometers, but she's sticking herself in there.
Yeah. It's I mean, there's been some moves and she's covered them, and she's been a part of the group making the moves. So it's pretty remarkable given that this is her third marathon, and the people she is up against are all-time greats. So that's pretty solid.
We talked briefly about the 4x4s. I want to get your opinion on the men's 1500 that's tomorrow. And a lot of interest in the United States and around the world because we got medal hopes from all over the place with Timothy Cheruiyot, Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Great Britain is well represented, Australia as well too. Cole Hawker in there for the United States. What do you think?
As we're seeing now in this tweet that Tulimak had to drop out at 20K. So that is sorry, her handle threw me off for a little bit. I didn't know who that was. But then I saw who was the person tweeting it and realized quickly who it was. What do I'm sorry, your question.
Men's 1500.
Okay.
Go.
There you go.
Men's 1500.
There you go.
Talk about it for at least 3 minutes.
I think a lot of, here's what I think. Very, very fast semifinals. There was an Olympic record in the second semi. I tend to think it would be easy just be like, okay, Cheruiyot, Ingebrigtsen, some form of that. There are a lot of people running really well, and the heats of the 1500 have been choppy with a lot of bodies going around with I don't know if Cheruiyot's going to run like he did in Doha, because I don't know if he's quite in that shape. But if he does, that will be good for people staying on their feet, because this to me has been trending towards it's going to be very, very messy in this final, just how packed everything has been. I know that's how heats tend to go, but if Cheruiyot doesn't take it out, I think we could have a major upset with. I don't think Hawker is going to win gold, but I definitely think he can medal. Just based on how good he looked finishing next to, and I think beating Timothy Cheruiyot. I know it was a semi, but my point being, I mean, anyone from Ingebrigtsen could win gold to Stuart McSwain could win gold. It just doesn't have the feel of Cheruiyot being that favorite like he was in 2019. It won't surprise me, obviously, if he wins, but I really think it's a pretty wide open race.
I think even if Cheruiyot doesn't take the pace and push it, someone else will, namely Stuart McSwain. That guy just seems like he abhors running in a pack. And I love it. I love it about him. Yep. He'll just make a move midway through, going back to the Aussie champs, when he just like, all right, I'm going to go to the front and I'm going to risk it all, and end up getting out-kicked. But he puts himself out there all the time. Normally when we go into this 1500 final, we say, well, what type of race is it going to be, and what type of race favors which runner? I think we know it's going to be fast, and all the runners are capable of that because the heats have all been fast. You mentioned Abel Kipsang running 3:31 in the semi, and then the other semi was 3:33. Any other year, you'd say that's pretty quick. It was a couple seconds slower than the heat, the other heat though. So I think I'm with you. I think it's going to be quick, and I think everybody is prepared for it, which makes it so wide open, not just for gold, but even for the bronze and silver medals. Yeah. I think if I try to put myself in the mindset of, okay, if Cheruiyot cross the line first, but win a little bit faster, cross the line first, would I be more confident in him? And probably yes. So maybe I'm underselling his odds just based on that one semifinal performance.
Yeah, I guess it's also, I mean, I know he was dealing with something, I guess, but finishing fourth at Kenyan trials, and he ran a PB,
he ran a PR
did he run
Monaco.
A personal best in Monaco? Yeah. It just doesn't have the same feel as going into Doha. I don't know why. I will stop our 1500 analysis just for a second to update the viewers who, for whatever reason, aren't watching at home but are watching us. Chip Nagich has been dropped in the women's marathon, short of 19 miles. So that is an update to be had here. And Molly Seidel still hanging on. My goodness. I honestly think, Kevin, I just based on I've just been so impressed by Hawker. I mean, making that final, not just the fact that he had to PR, but just the ability to position himself, given that he's 20 and was literally was a college freshman this past season. Nothing will surprise me. I mean, I guess I should say I got a gold against Ingebrigtsen and Chariot would surprise me, but I will not be surprised if he gets a medal tomorrow. I think he has just exceeded everyone's expectations at almost every race throughout this year, and the ability to make the final when Matt Centrowitz couldn't make the final. As far as we know, an in shape Matt Centrowitz couldn't make the final. I think Hawker is just as capable as I think he's in the same category as the Brits, as far as Kerr and Whiteman, those type of guys that are, right there on the cusp of getting a medal, and just behind the guys like Chariot and Ingebrigtsen. It's going to be, it's really the race I look forward to. I mean, the men's 1500 has kind of always been my favorite event. So I'm just, I'm stoked to watch that one.
Yeah. And I think with Hawker, there's a lot of parallels to that 2011 Centro run where he goes from NCAAs, wins USAs, and then ends up medaling in Daegu. So the story as it's written would be Hawker managing to pull out a medal. It's just that event, just the style in which they've run is just transformed over the last couple of years, which makes it in some ways easier to predict because it's probably going to be a 3:29. Like if it goes out tactical, I would be absolutely stunned.
Yeah.
If it goes out slow. There's too many guys. There's too many guys who like to push now because that's what they've been used to running.
The thing was, though, it was
Chariot likes the pace.
It was choppy at 3:31 pace, though. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's just going to be a clean. It's not going to be a clean race, even if it's a 3:28 race. It feels like everybody's capable of running that right now. We're approaching. We're at 19 and a half miles. Molly Seidel currently in first place in the Olympic women's marathon. I know we expect some things to change here, but don't want to miss out and talk about how just absolutely stunning that development is.
Yeah, she's hanging in there. You got Salpeter up there, Dereje. So you said Chepnegich dropped off, which means you just have Kosgei and Jepchirchir in there. Elmore of Canada. Am I seeing that right? And then we got Germany, Kateja, and then Chumba of Bahrain. Is that it? Is that the whole? I think that might be the whole group. Man,
Kevin,
we're knocking
they shared
off.
They shared, the USA Network shared a note that a 2004 Molly Seidel wrote that she said she wanted to be my greatest wish is to be an Olympic gold medalist one day. It's not off the table just yet. So
what year was that?
That'd be quite the accomplishment for, and you put that gold medal right next to that note she wrote back in 2004. That makes for a nice little mantelpiece, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Well, 2004 was the last time American woman medaled in this event. Dina Castor.
How fitting.
Getting the bronze.
How fitting.
Yeah.
She looks really good. This isn't just we're hanging on to, and I mean, like, I know I'm not like saying anything revelatory here, but like she has survived the initial waves that usually break down like a newcomer, someone who's having the race of their life in the Olympics. So, and she's leading this pack. She's not just hanging on. So they haven't done anything, they haven't dropped any sub 16s or anything yet, but still, this is impressive. Sub 16, 5,000 meter splits, I should say.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to be able to focus on the end of this race. So real quick, you have 3.5 minutes to answer this question, Lincoln.
Okay.
About the women's 10,000 tomorrow. You got Sifan Hassan doing the last leg of her Hassanathon. She already has a gold and a bronze. Now the longest race. She's going to get pushed there, of course, by Latenza Bet-Gidey, who has the world record. How do you see that race playing out?
I think it's going to be incredibly fast. I think the world record. I think Gidey needs to try to set the world record in the race. I think that's the smart. I mean, she already has the world record, but I think that's your best play for a fatigued. Obviously, I mean, she's not going to leave it to a last mile. We're not going to have a Doha all over again where Hassan's going to split 3:59 the last 1500. That would be dumb if that happens. I think we will see a world record. That's just kind of, we saw that in Rio, and then we know we have two women who have set world records this year in the women's 10,000 in this race. And I know Hassan's going to be a little compromised coming off of now running 5 races, but this being her 6th race. But I think the best move, obviously, for Gidey is to take it out hard, and I think that will result in a world record. Maybe. I mean, we've seen a sub 46 in the men's 400 hurdles. Maybe we get our first sub 29 tomorrow. What do you think?
Wow.
A possibility?
Well, we have to put the caveat about the conditions because they haven't been great. Now, you wouldn't have been able to tell because the races by and large are pretty quick. That men's 5K ended up being sub 13, and then the heats have been quick in a lot of these races as well too.
Yeah.
With those two, it's possible. And I know Hassan is planning on going after the world record in Brussels again anyway, post this race, but it's not going to be Hassan. Hassan does not want the world record pace in this race.
No, I wouldn't think so. Although that
she
would be pretty
Gidey,
Hassan-like.
She wants Gidey to overthink it, slow it down, and then take advantage. That's what she wants to have happen. But it's going to be going to be tough. It's going to be tough. There's just a lot of races in your legs, and as you saw today in the 1500, she's human. She's human. So,
absolutely.
All right, back to the marathon where this pack continues to be led by Molly Seidel. With 10
looks like Travis got a tweet here, reminding us that she once ran a turkey trot in a turkey costume. Might be able to Photoshop a medal onto that photo. Oh, we had somebody else drop. Oh, it's Chip. No, I'm sorry. I'm talking multiple things at once. Chepnagich is now walking, so that's
this is why I don't
good.
pick things. What did I say?
Yeah.
She'll be able to withstand the heat. She won in Doha.
Not today.
It'll be fine. Someone asked in the chat.
Maybe she's only good at night.
Another double in Eugene, given how well Elaine is running, and with Gabby possibly improving. I mean, it depends on how the schedule looks. I think it's always good to keep your options open. And I don't think, obviously, like Thompson Harrod's been great in the Olympics, but then look at the time between 2016 and now. She's run some really fast times. She got runner up to Daphne Shippers in Worlds, but nothing is guaranteed that you're going to be able to pull your performance from one year to the next. So I would just say, I mean, look at how much the 400 changed this year. Look at how many people who were fast either couldn't run the race or decided not to run the race. So if you're able to do both, I still think do both. Give yourself the most options for gold. I know they've already made the schedule for Eugene. I don't have it in front of me, but if that's a possibility, do both. But I think clearly the 400 would be her better route to gold if she just had to pick one, all things being equal.
Yeah. And I don't want to just, I would like to extrapolate on that topic. I do want to say in the women's marathon, it's not a huge break yet, but as far as this top five is settled, but there is now a group of 5 here that have separated, and Seidel still in that pack. This is, and that it almost is like might be separating down to 4. Kevin, the medal chances. Now we still have 5.5 miles to go here, but my goodness, is Seidel going to hang on? I would have not thought this was possible. This is impressive.
Yeah, I remember weather was not great in Atlanta either, and that was a tough course, and that's what they used to qualify.
But it was the opposite, right?
Windy, very windy that day. It was not. Yeah, it was
cold.
Not incredibly
Jeff
hot.
Cheercheer's really trying to put the hammer down, I think, a little bit here.
So you have Jeb Cheer and Kaz Guy up there.
Yeah.
Are we calling this a pack of five? It's hard to tell when they go to the water
Well,
stations.
see this water station looks to have separated a little bit here, and I thought maybe Seidel was losing contract, but I think she was just like stepping out to the side to get the water. Yeah, it's a pack of five. Yeah, so I thought it was maybe going to get down to four, but it looks like the athlete from is that Chumba? It looks like she has
Bahrain.
latched back on the Bahraini athlete. So it's a pack of five. There's no doubt about that. And Seidel is right there in basically second or third place. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you look at her 2020 and 2021. 2021, she ran 2 half marathons and a 10,000 on the track. And then you go back to 2020, she ran and qualified in Atlanta. And then remember, she did that London Marathon that was on the loop course. She
Yep.
finished sixth
Yep.
in 225, which was her PB, a good result, but obviously far off the win there from Koskai. But this is a different race than those London marathons or even the Olympic trials. So, man, yeah, to be in the mix
And
this late in the race is not on anybody's list of possibilities, I think.
I just want to point out, maybe we can get a screenshot pulled up. Jeb Cheer right now running with a water bottle tucked in her jersey. I don't think I've ever seen that. It shows you how warm it must be. I don't think in as they say, in all my years of commentating on marathons, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. It's some conditions. There we go. Yeah, see on the left side there, that white blob is a water bottle. Just tucking it in her shirt, just bringing it along for the ride. Normally you carry that. Also, maybe other people can tell me, what is the deal with this like futuristic car that is going along here as they run? This thing looks like it's from like 2040 or something.
It's stealing the show.
Yeah.
The show. Yeah, it's very futuristic. The Jetsons are going to pop out of it at any moment. Yeah, the people that this group has left in their wake are very good. As I mentioned, Kajeta from Germany is solid. So all three Ethiopians are off the pace. Chepnegich looked like a DNF. There's a lot of talent that's not going to be
either that or she's going to walk 5 miles in.
That would be it's enough of a loop, I think, to where they can maybe they get picked up by the futuristic car. That's the consolation prize.
They've got like 30 people in that car right now. It's like a clown car. Molly Seidel, less than 5 miles ago, in first place.
So Connor says it's ice in her kit. So I think that's a bag of ice.
Oh,
so Connor, basically,
that looks.
She's.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see the bag now. Okay.
She's basically recreated an ice vest here. That's what she's done.
Yeah.
You see athletes wearing them to warm up and in the call room. That's what. That's what she's doing here. She's just making her own ice vest. I guess we'll see what the proper way is to
screen.
Do this.
We've got the. Oh yeah.
I was going to say we'll see the proper way to do this when Rupp runs tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like whatever strategy he uses with ice. I don't know what it's going to be, but whatever he does is going to be something to behold.
He's just going to have USA painted along his chest. He's not even going to wear a singlet. There's the 2042 edition of the Toyota Camry driving along.
Along those beautiful Sapporo streets. We're still with 5 here. Or 4, excuse me. 4? 5. 5. Did no? Yeah, Salpeter's still there. Excuse me. Trumba looks like she's drifting though. Lincoln. Trumba looks like she's vulnerable. Salpeter's still there. Yeah, this is we're at 2:0 for those of you just joining, or you want to sync so that way there's no spoilers. I'm at 2:02:40 on my feed at 35 kilometers, and looks like the winner is going to come from one of these 5. I don't necessarily feel confident in saying the medalists are for sure going to come from these 5 because in conditions like this, when things start to go bad, they can go real bad.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had to drop my AirPods. They need some charging. So hopefully this doesn't ruin everything we're doing. So it was an actual Toyota car. Yeah, I
Oh
am
yeah, here it is.
as Travis, it's a self-driving Escort. Wow, that's it. That is fancy. It does appear, Kevin, if we're watching our stream, that the athlete in fifth, I think that was Chumba, starting to fall off a little bit. Seidel, though, still just
1 in
hanging
4
tough.
chance. Now we're
1 in
down to
4.
4. If she
Gordon's
falls
seeing
off.
if he can put $80,000 on Molly Seidel right now to make up for his losses.
Well, he's got Jib Chirchir just to medal, so I think he's in a good position. I'm seeing a split here in the chat, 16:54 last 5K. Well, Chumba still hanging. Still hanging. I don't think she's out of it yet.
Okay, yeah, she keeps yo-yoing, right? And
Mhm.
wow, they're showing the Molly Seidel watch party, Kevin. It's raining at the Molly Seidel watch party. I don't know if that's a good omen or not. Maybe it's raining medals, perhaps.
It's
I don't know.
outside.
Yeah, they're
Someone's
being
gonna-
responsible, Kevin. They're being responsible.
Someone smarter than me needs to analyze, and I'm sure there'll
There
be
we
some
go.
threads afterwards on this. The cost benefit analysis. Like I get the ice to cool you down, but the weight, got to factor that in too.
You do. You know, the U.S. have an advantage wearing these white kits. I mean, Kenya's got these dark reds, the beehive look,
Honeycomb.
which I mean, I'm a fan of, but practically, is it the best? Is it the best wear right now? You got Salpeter and Seidel wearing the white. So looks like they're cutting to another commercial break here.
I like to think that there was no plan with this. She just was so hot that she said, "Give me all the ice. I'm going to put it in my jersey." And then that was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It looks like, looks like the Olympics were prepared for the heat. This isn't LA 2016, the trials where they're giving out like used rags for people to cool down. Then they had all the ice ready to go. So props on them, along with the self-driving Toyota car.
Yeah. Well, not yet. Let's wait to see. I can't make up my mind about Chumba. You're right. Yo-yoing is exactly what she's doing. I wonder now just how much Jeb Chirchir and Kosgei in particular. Salpeter's solid too. Not to discount her. She's phenomenal. Has a fast PB, but Kosgei's run 2:14. So is she going to be able to use some of that? Is she going to be able to, has this felt easy, or are we, because of the heat, is it a much more even playing field?
Well, Ben Rosario, coach of NAZ Elite, with his athlete DNFing, he is now the Sephora U.S. Molly Seidel correspondent there, and saying, as we can read here, Molly's super locked in. Didn't grab her personal water, or personal fluids, but got some water down to 5. Man, people are drinking to this. You're thinking 4. Well, I don't know about you, but I've been in a commercial break, and you're right. Okay, now I'm back, and does appear that Chumba has dropped off, maybe for good. So, wow. And we are inside 4 miles to go.
This is an incredible story developing here. And listen, it's not like the U.S. women haven't been a factor in the marathon at the Olympics before. Joan Benoit Samuelson, obviously. I mentioned Dina Castor in 2004 getting a medal. In Rio, Flanagan, Linden, and Cragg went 6, 7, 9. So that was a pretty solid performance there. Flanagan was 10th in 2012. But this is a shock because those runners came in with a lot more experience than Seidel came in with. Just a couple marathons,
and they weren't
on her belt
in the mix for the medals. I mean, that was different than now. Granted, in 2016, very likely that the top 2 finishers were up to no good, right? And so maybe the U.S. Americans would have been in better contention had dopers not been in front of them. But in any case, this is a different getting 6th, 7th, and 9th is great, but this is, being in contention for a gold. I know that, but I mean, this just and given how inexperienced she is in this event, this is pretty remarkable. We just don't usually see Americans in championship races. This I know Craig got bronze in 2017, but the Olympics are a different level when it comes to the marathon. I think we can all agree to that, and this is remarkable.
Yeah. Well, it was just Sumgong, right? That won, or was there an issue with other medalists in Rio?
No, I mean Sumgong, and then the silver medalist. I'm sure.
Kurwa.
Yeah.
Yep. She was suspended in 2019, May 2019. Okay. All right. Back to the race. Here we go. Another shot of the dust box. Still not sure what that is. I know more about the car than the dust box at this point. So
we're still wondering about the dust box. There's been a couple of them. Maybe it's lost and found. I'm not sure. Like, do they just have that much dust in Sapporo that it's necessary to compile it in their own separate receptacles? It's who can say?
That's a good point. We're not sure here. A lot of shots of the backpack still. We're doing a lot of one shots here of people struggling in 7th. And we're about at 5K to go. So I'm going to need
bad Japanese English. I see. Yeah, what's a dust box? Okay. People are commenting.
It's what they think
I get it
their
now.
word. Gomibako is in English. They mean trash can, garbage bin, wastebasket. Okay. I kind of like that. I'm going to use that, though. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to go to Target. I need to pick up a new dust box.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun, right? It's kind of like Earth sports. You just pick up some niche track and field things and you run with them, right?
Where's your feed showing? Do we have the same? I know we have different mechanisms, but are you looking at two people way down the list right now, or are you on the leaders?
No, I'm up with the top 4. 2:10:20 just passed, and they have an aerial view of our top 4 of Kosgei, Jepkowski, or Jepchirchir, I should say, Salpeter, and Seidel.
She's still carrying the ice. She's still got the ice.
You can't. You got to think it's an inefficiency at this point. Kevin, I got to step away just for a moment. I'll be right back to conclude this women's marathon.
All right. Well, Lincoln will be back in a second. He is concluding the women's marathon here. So less than 4 miles to go now, and Molly Seidel is in contention in the U.S. women's marathon. What a story developing here. Put your predictions now in the chat if you're watching this live. Put your predictions in. Let us know who's going to win, what's going to happen, because this has already been shocking so far. And just as I say that, looks like Kosgei and Jepchirchir are putting pressure on the field, and Salpeter is following, and then there's a little bit of space back to Seidel. So this is the first time we've seen Molly Seidel drop off this pack, and we're just under 5 kilometers to go now. So we'll see if she can rebound or at least hold her position. But this is going to be a great race developing. Look like Jepchirchir just looked over at Kosgei and kind of smiled at her. Again, it's just hard to tell how much they've put out. They've obviously run so much faster than this. You got 5K left in this race, and Kosgei's PB is 2:14, which would be 2 minutes from now, basically. That's how fast she's run a marathon in. And Molly Seidel's just really going for it here with women who have PBs that are 10 minutes faster than her, more than 10 minutes faster than her. This is just incredibly, incredibly impressive. I mean, if she could rally for the bronze, that would be insane. This is just a fun one to watch. Pat Casey, 59-meter runner, does not like commercials right now, nor do I. I don't like any more cutaways back to the chase pack either. And this is where you get in that spot when you're watching a marathon when you can't really tell how big the gap is, because it'll look real close and then they'll do a side shot and then you'll be like, oh, okay, They're a lot closer than they are. So I can't tell. And I think we're going to get a lot of Jepchirchir and Kosgei shots. And I don't know how much, hopefully we'll stay on Salpeter and Seidel enough to see how that develops. Because right now I'm looking at Seidel going past Salpeter here. So she's up into the bronze medal position. Still a ton left to run here. But, and Salpeter's stopped. Oh my goodness. So Salpeter's out of it. So Seidel has a clear run at bronze at worst. And now Salpeter is walking. And I don't know how far back. Okay, now we're seeing, so Ethiopia's, that must be Dereje who went by. And it's tough to tell because she got gapped a lot earlier. So it's tough to tell how much faster or slower she's running than Seidel. And again, there's still 4K left. So there's other people that could factor in. That last split that we have, is this the most updated split, Travis, from 202? Because Dereja at that point was 12 seconds back. Yeah, we don't have anything until 40K. So we're going to be flying blind. Just have to get your best estimate based on what you see out there. But that's heartbreaking for Salpeter to go from in potential gold medal position to, okay, I can get a bronze, to now you're out of the race entirely. You wonder if Seidel's move, her counter there, is what put her out. So now you have Jepchirchir making a move on Kosgei. You missed everything.
Yeah, good.
There was a gap. So when did you stop?
Well,
the Kenyans pushed to the front.
wasn't walking when I was last here, so she dropped out.
She dropped out, but that came after she was in third. There was a move. The two Kenyans moved. Salpeter was in third. Seidel, there was a little bit of gap between Salpeter and Seidel. Seidel caught up, then Salpeter dropped, and that's where we're at right now.
Wow.
And now I'm wondering, Dereje, does she have a chance to catch Seidel? Like, how comfortable is Seidel's bronze medal position right now?
Yeah,
is what I'm wondering.
Yeah. I mean, she would have to. I would think she would have to fall apart pretty well here. But yeah, maybe Dereje saved something. But just the fact that she wasn't in that group of five, you would think she can't catch her. But still 2 miles to go.
Yeah, it was about 10 seconds when it was 35K, but that's like 13 minutes ago now, and it's tough to gauge exactly. I guess you could count once you see markers on the road, but it looks like Seidel is closer to the leaders than the fourth place version is to her. And
you know what this reminds me of, Kevin?
Gold.
This reminds me of Rupp's bronze medal run in Rio, where the questions were, okay, so he's obviously not going to get silver or gold, but is he going to hang on? It's just kind of what it reminds me of with Seidel here. And they showed on my feed, they showed her entire family. They've gone from sitting down to they're now all crouched immediately in front of the TV as we get inside 2 miles. There you go. There's the feed. I imagine they're a little excited there in the in Seidel land.
So it's a 6-second gap to Seidel. And then I'm wondering what's the gap on the other end, because they have someone to work with, the Kenyans here over the last part. And I imagine they're going to be, they're looking around a lot, but okay. So there's the leaders, 10 seconds, Seidel. So is that saying basically 20 seconds from Seidel to Dereje? That's how I'm interpreting that.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not impossible to make up. But Seidel doesn't show any signs to me of just like I'm falling apart. So it's good. And she doesn't look like, it's not out of the question based on my feed. Maybe I'm wrong, but that she could catch back up to the leader. It's unlikely, but it looks more likely that she'd catch up to the leaders than get reeled in. Not more likely, but she's closer to the leaders than fourth place is to her. So that's good for her.
Well, when that gap formed, you're right. She didn't fall apart. It wasn't hey, my race is over. And as soon as you apply the slightest amount of pressure, I'm going to crumple. And you can see she's stuck in there pretty good. And I don't know if that group behind her is getting closer, but she is sticking herself right in there. And if the Kenyans here pay too much attention to each other and not continue to push the pace, Seidel could work her way right back
That's
into
a good
this.
point. That's a really good point. Yeah, I didn't necessarily think about that, but it's remarkable. I mean, one, that obviously we've said that she's even here, but if you get in this point where they drop you and you know you're in a medal position, for her to still like to be conscious and be like, I'm going to try to fight to get back up to this group is brave and admirable. If that's what she's doing, which it looks like, and not just like I got to hang on to this spot. I mean, I guess the best method to hang on to this spot is still be fighting for the win, but man,
Yeah.
I
Well,
am,
listen.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm saying, so Bridget Kosgei, PB 2:14.04. Perez Jepchirchir, PR 2:17.16. Do you know what Molly Seidel's PR is, Lincoln?
Probably 225.
Molly Seidel's, so we have a 2:14, a 2:17, and a 2:25.
Yeah.
Battling out for these medals.
It's I mean that is major championship that is championship marathoning in a nutshell, right? Is like you end up with that type of discrepancy. I mean, you look back on the woman who won in Beijing. I forget her name, from wherever it was, Romania, and is like winning. And it's just, it doesn't necessarily make sense based on what you see elsewhere. But that's kind of what I was alluding to at the top. You end up in these Olympic races with some wacky results, and I didn't know that it would be Seidel. But gosh, this is crazy. And I looks could be deceiving, but it doesn't appear that she's out of the top two discussion.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, but they are just about to hit
40K
2:20 on the clock at 40K. So 2:19.59 at 40K.
6 seconds back. So the lead has not grown at all. And yeah, maybe these two are measuring each other up, and then they're going to have another burst over the last kilometer. But I mean, we're still waiting for fourth place to come through. So she's looking really good for bronze.
My gosh. And not out of the question that she could take gold. Not even out of the question yet. It's pretty stunning. It just looks so good too. No breakdown at all. And we've seen Jepchirchir, I mean, intelligently, smartly, but really sucking on the, having those ice bags and dumping water all over herself. And Seidel's done that to be sure as well, but not to the extent. It just looks really, really confident and strong.
Well, now she's going with the bike lane strategy. She is running in the bike lane.
Yeah.
Well, now she's zigzagged over to the
baby.
to the table. She was on a completely different course from Kosgei and Jepchirchir. So now Jepchirchir is making a move.
Dropping.
She took the ice bag out of her shirt. She's dropping Kosgei. And now you wonder how much does Kosgei have?
100%.
Because while it looks like Jepchirchir is going to be not catchable for Seidel, definitely silver now. There could be some blood in the water here over the last.
And you saw
little stretch.
Kosgei. Yeah, Kosgei was looking around, so we'll see. I mean, she's got quite a bit more experience, obviously, but silver on the table.
Yeah, this is just incredible. Just incredible. So we're at, I want to get a shot here from Kosgei back to Seidel.
Yeah, I'm on a skateboarding commercial, right? Or I guess it's a Facebook commercial featuring skateboarding. So that's where I'm at right now, Kevin.
So I'm at 2:22:10 on the clock. Jepchirchir is running away with this thing. It looks like she amped up the pace again. It's just difficult to tell. Is Kosgei holding steady or is she losing ground? Looks like she's solid. Jepchirchir just had that blast because they went around a curve. Now I finally see Seidel. So I still think odds are that it's going to be Kosgei second, but I don't think there's anybody. We're at 40.7, now 40.8 kilometers, so 1,200 meters to go here, and there's nobody who's really emerging to challenge Seidel for the bronze.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
What a crazy I definitely knew that the U.S. was going to get more medals in the women's marathon than the men's 400. That's definitely something I had on my sheet going into this gym.
Yeah,
You
that
do all
you
the
always
prep
figured
work.
that one.
Why do you bother? You do all the prep work, you
Yeah.
study, you watch all the races. It's just like, what is happening? What is going on?
Yeah. I mean, the good thing with the marathon though is it just because there are so few races, 26.2 races that is, you're bound to surprise, right? And especially when you add in the pandemic, throwing everything for a loop, an off year, and then the fact that this is tough conditions, and we're just scratching the surface. It appears of how good Seidel's going to be. She appears to be a
Yeah.
superstar. This is what we thought Jordan Hissey was going to be, and May would have been if not for injuries. Uh, Seidel just because she's new to the event, but she was at points a dominant college runner and just never quite got it figured out. I think because of injuries, and she had the eating disorder issue for a while that she never had it figured out on the track. But the talent has been there, and she's going to hang on. It appears for a medal. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a weird thing that in the marathon, someone who's run 2:14 can be right with someone who's run 2:25.
Right.
And it not really
Right.
be and
Yeah.
it
And
not really be that surprising. So it looks like I'm looking at this, if I'm interpreting the graphic correctly, 7 seconds between Jepchirchir and Kosgei, and then 13 seconds between Kosgei and
okay.
Seidel. So she slowed a little bit, but this is, I think, Derege's in fourth, and she's not in the picture. And at 40K, she was over 20 seconds back. So it looks like these
Back of
spots
Seidel,
are
20 seconds back of Seidel. Is that what it was? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, she's 20
Yeah.
seconds
Okay.
back of Seidel. So they switch to a different camera shot to show her. That's how you know she's out of it. And we're at
Yeah.
600 meters to go. So barring somebody tagging in Faith Kipyegon here to run the last quarter, I think things are going to hold steady. Although I guess I shouldn't say that. I just got done saying how unpredictable this race is, because Molly Seidel's about to get an Olympic bronze medal in her
Yeah.
third marathon of her career.
We had we had the 1960 marathon, Olympic marathon, where Abebe Bikela won without
Mhm.
shoes. But this will be perhaps the first Olympic champion to run with an ice pack
Yep.
on their person throughout the entire, or at least most of the race. So I don't know which one's more
Yeah.
impressive for you, Kevin.
Well, that's going to be the talking point after. Hey, why didn't more people do the ice bag strategy? But I think you'd also want to ask what Molly Seidel did to prep, because whatever it is, it worked, because she's running the race of her life here, chasing down
Right.
a medal here in the Olympics. So 200 meters to go. I don't think there's going to be much drama here at the finish, so I'm not going to spoil anything. You got Jepchirchir, who came in with great credentials and was one of the favorites. She's won 2 World Half Marathon titles. She's run 2:17, 16, 105.06 in the half. This is not a surprise. She's running up to expectations. But the story for the U.S. is Molly Seidel is gonna come away with a medal here behind the world record holder, who's run 2:14 in the marathon,
Yeah.
Bridget Kosgei.
I mean, just Seidel from start to finish, she has never looked bad. Again, this is her third marathon. This is the Olympic stage. It's in the 80s. She's running against women who have run 8 and 10 minutes faster and 11 minutes faster than her. And she's, the marathon, she pushed back against the marathon today, and the marathon didn't push back on this stage. It's really impressive. I can't get over it, how just hard earned and impressive of a bronze this is going to be for Seidel.
Mm-hmm. Jepchirchir gets gold, 2:27.20. She's overcome with emotion at the finish line.
Gordon's happy too.
It's going to be Kosgei a few seconds back, 2:27.36. And then, as you mentioned, Molly Seidel, third marathon of her career. The day started by posting the warm-up on Strava, and it ends with an Olympic bronze.
Wow.
What a
Cool
story.
celebration. And she was celebrating, pumping the fist, saying yes. That was really cool. That was fun. That's unbelievable. Looks like she could keep going too.
She says, "I love you, mom," as
Congratulations
she
to Molly
finished it.
Seidel.
What a
They
finish!
got to
What a
cut back
finish
to her
for
family.
this.
They've got to be going nuts there in Wisconsin. They've got to cut back to the family camp because the family, yeah, there they are. They're going nuts.
And then Dereje coming up for fourth, but this was not close, Lincoln, for the medals.
Hmm.
Seidel was closer to gold than she was to fourth. This is just
Yeah,
incredible how well she ran against a top-notch field there. Dereje comes in, a minute 18 off of Jepchirchir and almost a full minute back of Seidel. I mean, just she belonged in that race. She belonged in that race from the moment the gun went off all the way through to the end. And as I
it's
mentioned
just
before, that's the U.S.'s first medal in the event since Dina Castor in 2004.
We think of athletes. I think that not. I don't want to frame it as they benefited from the fact that there was a pandemic, but an athlete that probably benefited from there being a gap year between when she qualified and when the race was held for the Olympics was Molly Seidel. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying she would have not medaled necessarily if the race was in 2020, but clearly has gained some confidence in this race. And it's just wild to think back to February 2020. Not only has the world completely changed since then, but Molly Seidel was somebody no one really hardly anyone was talking about. There was a deep field in the U.S. At the U.S. trials, and Molly Seidel's name was not among them,
Yeah.
primarily because she was making her debut, but also because she had struggled in the years since. It's not like she was a star coming from the track professionally over to the roads. I mean, she
Yeah.
had been, had some empty years, and this is just an incredible, an incredible story for Seidel, and is has a chance now to be. She's already established herself as an all-time great as far as a U.S. women's marathon just by virtue of medaling. How hard that is to do. Something that
Mm-hmm.
that Shalane Flanagan wasn't able to do in the marathon at the Olympics, something that Kara Goucher wasn't able to do, but something that Dina Castor has done, something that
Mm-hmm.
Joni Samuelson has done. I mean, she's already established herself, but now at age 27 is just really got this
Mm-hmm.
chance going forward to establish herself as one of the best in the U.S.'s history. So but today's moment is the important thing, right? It's not what this means for a future.
Yeah.
It's just winning bronze is incredible. Even if she does nothing
Well,
else, this is just outstanding.
and look at what came before it too, an upset to even get on the team. She's a professional upset
Mhm.
specialist. That's what she
I
does.
think so.
She looks at low odds and she laughs at them. That's what Molly Seidel has
Yeah.
done twice. Two big
Hmm.
high stakes races, and she pulled out amazing performances in both of them. And
Yeah.
when she went into Atlanta, it was a debut. So of course nobody's going to say, "Hey, the debutante, that's who I'm going to pick." And then going into the Olympics, yeah, she dropped her PB down, but as I mentioned, 10 minutes, 8 minutes back of the people who she was contending with.
Yeah.
No one's going to stand up
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, she's going to be in it to win it. She's going to have a chance at bronze. She's almost going to knock off the world record holder." And it's not just the world record holder having a bad day. It's the world record holder running for second place. It's not Perez Jepchirchir having a horrible day and she's
Yeah.
hanging with her. It's Perez Jepchirchir winning gold. She went toe to toe with the best
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. It wasn't just, you were hanging around. Yeah. It wasn't just, hanging around until the big dogs made a move. It was like, no, she hung around and then she started to come back on it too. And it was, whew, that was quite the race. And you see a lot of, American distance running stars celebrating with her. Kevin, for me, I think that makes up for the U.S. men's struggle in the sprints. I think that completely atones for it. We got a bronze medal. And honestly, a hot take here, Kevin. Obviously, you'd prefer the silver over the bronze. It's a better place. I kind of like the look of the bronze medal over the silver. So maybe Molly Seidel agrees with me there. It's just a more exciting piece of jewelry, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else can comment there in the YouTube page if they agree with me. I mean, Bronze just a little bit more fun. So there's just a lot of things
See,
going right for Molly Seidel.
I like the unique nature of silver too, but I think she'd take any medal because I'm still in a little bit of disbelief that happened, to be honest, and it just goes to
Right.
show you how unpredictable the whole Olympic program is from top to bottom. And if you're somebody who's pulling for the American athletes and you're like frustrated about why didn't they get a medal here, why did this person perform, you also have to take this as a sign too, right? You can't just be like,
Right.
I want all the upsets to go in our favor, and I don't want any of them to go in another country's favor. No, that's not how it works. Unpredictability
Yeah.
goes both ways. Ethiopia got
Yeah.
shut out of the women's marathon, and Kenya, obviously they had 2-1-2, so they're happy with their result. But just as you wouldn't predict America to not get a men's 400-meter medal, you probably thought Ethiopia would hang in there a bit longer. Is this a Gordon tweeting things now? I don't think
No,
that's
that's gotta be
Travis.
Travis. Oh well, that's
No,
Gordon's.
that's
That's Gordon's
yeah,
font. Gordon has a font
yeah.
that he always uses, and that's it. That's a good one. The KD and Steve Nash one's pretty good.
So we're gonna do
Kevin,
more
my
recap. Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go.
Oh, I was gonna say my stream has transitioned over to equestrian, and which is one of the commentators' name is Randy Moss, not the former NFL player.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that would be more fun. But
That would be pretty wild.
I do have to run. I've got a lot of research to do for tomorrow's edition when Abdirahman wins gold by a couple minutes. But this was fun. We'll have to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, so they haven't changed the schedule as far as we know. So tomorrow we're gonna get going at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. on the East Coast, 3 p.m. on the West Coast in the United States. So if it does change, we will adjust and start the hour earlier.
Yeah, just make sure to tell Fubo.tv because they're messed up.
And we'll talk more about the meet as a whole too. And also we're going to have the tomorrow morning podcast as well too. So when we wrap in the morning, or when the morning session wraps, let me just look this up. I'm not able to communicate effectively after 2 hours here, 2.5 hours. So tomorrow at, let me get this right, 8 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. in the West Coast, 9 a.m. Gordon and I will be doing the track event recap. So we'll talk women's high jump, women's 5K, men's jav, men's 15, and then both 4x4s. And then I'll take a little bit of a break. Gordon will already be on his vacation and then come back in the evening to do the marathon. So that's how we'll end it today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks to my co-host, Lincoln Shrike. Thanks to Colt. Thanks to Travis. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.